Hey there, everybody. As you know, I am not often live, so I always worry that this whole thing is going to fall apart because it feels like it's put together with duct tape and Elmer's glue. uh, okay, look, I wrote something that I want to read, and I'm just going to do that first, I think. I think that's how I'm going to start. I wrote it. I'm going to read what I wrote. I'm going to do Discord call-ins a little bit later. And I should probably read it before my hair starts getting all frizzy, right? So I made my video talking about the Xbox tax, why I don't think it's real, why I think the examples that are being used, especially the Call of Duty one, is one of the worst examples. I put a call out on Twitter asking for more evidence. People send in a ton of stuff that they see as evidence that there is in Xbox evidence. 9 Lives is calling out that in 2014, I made an image talking about 900p versus 1080p because Thief 3 on the original Xbox One ran at 900p and it ran at 1080p native on the PS4. Stuff like that really gets me riled up because those criticisms of the original Xbox One, not just from me, I'm not saying I did it obviously, but that criticism from the industry got us the Xbox One X. It got us the Xbox Series X. We have like a great lineup in terms of console hardware that only improved because of those criticisms. So the idea that criticism is the same as an Xbox tax, I do not agree with. So I get riled up when people say you had a role in the Xbox tax. If by a role you mean 9 years ago, I had a thumbnail made for a Daily Fix story about how the resolution was 900p for Thief 3 versus 1080p on PS4. Yeah, like that thumbnail. What is Xbox tax? I am glad people are asking that question. So I wrote a little something first because what I'm not doing is I am not denying that there are negative posts about Xbox Online. That is obviously true. I see them also. I also see a lot of bad takes. I see a lot of stupid tweets, but I don't think there's some inherently negative Xbox bias spread through the industry, because you know what I also see, because I look for it? I see tons of positivity about Xbox. I see it from the community constantly. I see it from the media who say stuff like, I don't recommend buying a PlayStation 5 right now around the launch of the Xbox because I'm just loving my Xbox Series X so much, and positive sentiment about the Xbox Series X around launch and just what Xbox is doing. And then that just gets brushed under the rug. People just forget all the positivity because they bring up tweets from 2014 or with a God of War launch tweet that a lot of people bring up. And it's just really unfortunate to see that that is the takeaway. That's the takeaway. And you're like, traditional journalism is terrible. And I'm like, you're correlating dumb tweets with bad journalism. And another problem is all the bad stuff gets put on. Like if one outlet writes a bad take, every bad take from everybody in the industry gets put on that one place. Like I've seen the Starfield player retention post. That's a bad post. That is objectively ridiculous, right? And that is, and like when mistakes are made, yes, they should be called out. But I do not think it implies that there is a rampant issue in the industry. All right, so I'm going to record this first part. I'm glad I did it live because I'm getting all riled up just reading the comments, and it's a little bit more of a dialogue. But I don't have a ton of time, by the way, because the kids are going to do nap time and everything. So yeah. Michael, thank you for the $10, I don't know what they're called, tip or whatever, but I really appreciate it. Especially, like, I'm losing subscribers because of my post about the Xbox tax, where I talk about why I think the Call of Duty correlation is bad. And like Mafro, why are you even, if you think that me working at IGN means I can't sit here and have a personal opinion, why are you watching my channel? Like, I don't get it, man. What? You think I spent 3 years of my life developing a channel dedicated to talking about the awesome stuff that Xbox is doing and how I believe in what Xbox is doing, and I see their roadmap towards success. You think I did that for 3 years to make one video where I disagree with the community that lost me subscribers, that means I will lose money for making? Like, what are you talking about? Yes, my plan to lose subscribers, lose money, be bombarded with negativity online is a complete roaring success. I can be dead wrong. That's fine. You can think I'm wrong. Mafro. That's fine. But the idea that I can't have a personal opinion and also work it on IGN, come on. Your shilling for IGN erases all of that. It's not just IGN posts that I'm talking about. None of the posts that I even referenced in the original video have anything to do with IGN as far as I can tell. They were all just Call of Duty reviews being bad. Call of Duty on Metacritic right now is scored higher on the Xbox brand than it is on the PlayStation brand. The reviews for Xbox games, the average is higher for Xbox games than it is for PlayStation exclusive games. At least on IGN. So like, it's just crazy to me. Are you saying those journalists don't have bias? Everybody on planet Earth has biases, right? There is one person in particular who made a tweet that was deleted a few hours after it was posted. And I have to be like, I don't want to call anybody specifically out because I don't want to speak for them. But here's what I do see about that person who has been lambasted for 6 months for a deleted tweet, right? And that pisses me off because that person loved Xbox. That person was excited about the Series X. They talk about how much fun they're having playing Xbox games and all that stuff. And that's gone. You know what a bad way to convince somebody how great the Xbox brand is and how great the Xbox community is? It's not by doing that. It certainly is not. Like, yeah, loved because you know what happened, Aaron? That person has been harassed relentlessly for 6 months over a deleted tweet. So you know what they do? They shut up. They stop talking about Xbox altogether. That's what happens. Everybody has bias. Yes, everybody on planet Earth has bias. I probably have an unconscious bias against unfair practices at mega corporations that negatively impact consumers. Dan Stapleton's tweet about playing on Xbox being the worst place to play on. Okay. Oh, Dan. I don't want to bring up specific people. That is a tweet about language. And it's from February. And that tweet, good, William, why are you here? Thank you for the money for watching. If you hate me for disagreeing one time on one thing so much that you're unsubscribing, then you never were a fan and you never have my back anyway. Because if we can't sit here and have a conversation about something we disagree on and you just need to punish me, then whatever, dude. I have a bias against people who don't hit the subscribe button. Yeah. You can't call out your bosses and coworkers at IGN. What do you want me to say? I don't think, I think there were how can I say it? I think there were bad posts, many of which were deleted, many of which that have been sent to me that I've discussed and have been removed. Say you're sorry. What am I sorry for? I don't agree that there's an Xbox tax. I have to apologize because I don't think there's an Xbox tax. How can I apologize for that? Like, I don't know how to uh, appease you besides agreeing with something that I don't agree with. And I can't do that. I'm going to read what I wrote. If there's no sound on the YouTube stream, something's wrong because I think everybody else can hear me. Or I've just been crazy talking to myself the whole time. All right. So let's see if I can record and do this at the same time. All right, oh God. All right, so I'll just have to do it live and clip it. That was like weird. I'll do it live, then I'll clip it. All right. So I wrote something. I'm going to be reading off a script for a little bit. So I apologize if I'm not looking directly at the camera. I thought it was important to write down all my thoughts and sort of read it that way. But anyway, well, that Xbox tax video did not go over very well. I want to talk a little bit more, but I want to make one thing clear. I am not saying that there is no negativity about Xbox ever posted online. But the Xbox tax idea is that Xbox will not or does not get a fair shake just because it's Xbox. And that's what I want to talk a bit more about today. Because while I agree that there have been some bad posts, straight up bad posts about Xbox over the years, I do not think that there's like, oops, I screwed up. I do think that there's also a lot of reaching going on, and I want to talk about that a bit more. So digging into it a bit more, the idea behind the Xbox tax is that there's a negative sentiment behind Xbox more so than for other brands. The problem I have with that is if you were looking for negative sentiment around PlayStation or Nintendo, you would also find it. If you go looking for negative content, you're going to find it. And a lot of the stuff that I've been sent, it's often like a headline that's sort of weird compared to another headline. But then when you actually go read the article, it's actually super positive about Xbox. So like I just don't see it the same way. Right. So anyway, I've been very negative about PlayStation, for example, on this channel. For example, that's just one example. I screwed up again. I don't agree with you all that the Xbox tax is a thing. The fact that I can't disagree about a topic is a little problematic to me. The examples from my previous video are not good examples of an Xbox tax proof because I think Modern Warfare 3 is objectively a bad game. It's sitting at 56 for PlayStation 5 on Metacritic, 60 for Xbox, and a 1.8 user score. It is objectively a bad product that was considered for cancellation at one point and built under an era at Activision where Bobby Kotick was participating in union busting and the company was going through like massive lawsuits for labor issues. Like the story of how bad it was at Activision during that time period is one that's told. And I just think it's a really bad example to utilize as any fault for Xbox. I see the tips coming in, by the way, but I'm trying to record this live and not do too many edits. So thank you for the tips. I missed one. Ari, thank you. Thank you, Dark. Where was I? The dev cycle isn't on Xbox. So like that's on Kotick and he's gone near the end of the year, something that Xbox is going to do. We have to see what the next Call of Duty and the one after have shown before we can make correlations to Xbox. It's like we have to see what the future of Call of Duty does before we can make any correlation to an effect being because of Xbox. It doesn't make sense to do it for this entry. Tando asked if I saw a video reacting i3bit response to you on X. He's a game developer that believes in Xbox tax. Okay. I mean, I still don't agree with him. Ziff Davis owns IGN, who runs the official PlayStation magazine, Follow the Money. The official PlayStation magazine was defunct 6 years before Ziff Davis purchased IGN. Per Schneider commented on this on Twitter. And it also leaves out the fact that they also own the official Xbox magazine. So they ran both. They had the official Xbox magazine, the official PlayStation magazine. Both were owned by Future, I believe. I don't remember the time. This is like before my time, but all that happened 6 years, and like they were defunct 5 or 6 years before Ziff Davis ever acquired IGN. So like those things were out of publication. So I don't know what the correlation is supposed to be there. Like it's, and that's the problem with Twitter. Like you don't get that context, right? I'm just going to continue reading. I sort of lost my track because I was commenting on stuff like that. Right. I spent the last 3 years building up this channel because I believe in what Xbox is doing. My Xbox content is mostly positive. I'm critical when I feel I need to be critical. Redfall would be a good example. And the result of all the criticism Redfall received, by the way, is that Phil Spencer and the Xbox team internally are looking at ways to ensure it doesn't happen again. So when you see criticism like that levied at an Xbox brand that failed to meet everyone's expectations, Xbox fans included, I think a positive result is what happens, right? I remember a colleague, for example, getting a ton of heat because they talked about how much they loved their Xbox and didn't recommend buying a PlayStation 5 at the time because it didn't have as many games to play. Others have talked about how much they're loving their Series X and getting bombarded by PlayStation's fans for it. But no one is going around clipping out the positive stuff. No one's going around comparing, oh, look at this positive thing or negative thing you said, and now it's positive. Like, you're not looking for that. If you're digging for negativity, you're going to find negativity. Thank you, Guy, and thank you, Typhus. I really appreciate the support. What I am not denying is that there are negative Xbox posts. There are tons of negative Xbox posts out there. There's negative posts for everything. If you are looking for negativity, you're going to find negativity. There's my thumbnail doing this. That's used as evidence. That's about That's about native resolution on the Xbox One versus PlayStation 4. And it was a problem that got fixed because of those criticisms. And that image is from 2014. A lot of the evidence brought up is from 2013 to 2015, aka the Xbox One era, that resulted in the Xbox One X and a complete shift in strategy from Microsoft towards an improvement, which hopefully we start to see a regular cadence of releases, still one of their big criticisms, starting next year. This year was pretty good, though. There are tweets about exclusives being bad, and then 9 years later, a tweet about how Final Fantasy 16 is a good get for PlayStation. The sentiment might seem hypocritical, but you could probably go back a decade and find something I've changed my stance on too. My problem is like the gap in some of these posts. Like, okay. So you got one from 2014 and 2015, which I'll bring up in just a second if you're watching live. But if you go and read those articles, they're positive. And then you have one that's like a 9-year gap where somebody said something 9 years ago and then said something different 9 years later. It's just like, and the Final Fantasy 16 grab turned out not to be a great get for PlayStation, according to Square. Anyway, people change their minds is the point I'm trying to make. And Xbox needs to keep changing people's minds too. And I think they're going to continue to do so. What's not going to prove Xbox's greatness to anyone is digging up tweets that were up for a few hours from months ago and dogpiling on that person for months or years to come. Especially when that person, and I have to be careful because I don't want to like out anybody, but yes, I'm subtweeting a little bit. Like that person is very positive about Xbox. And like, there's one joke made and it's just so unfortunate to see the backlash. The result of that is people stop talking about Xbox. So you've taken somebody that talked about their love for Xbox, love for the Series X, excitement about the Xbox brand, and like you made it something that they don't even want to talk about anymore. Well, I can't speak for them, but like I know how I felt when I posted the thumbnail. I just got very quiet about Xbox for a long time because, well, the fan base doesn't like me. I guess I shouldn't talk about Xbox anymore, right? So even I still did it anyway. Like I talked about, man, Killer Instinct was really, really fun. But it's just like, how is that helping the Xbox brand? Like just lambasting somebody for making a bad joke that they deleted and took down. It just sucks to see. And it happens more than you realize. It happens to me with PlayStation, right? The PlayStation fan base hates me. Like the really strong fans. And yeah. PlayStation lawsuit, non-video. If you're talking about me making a video, I had a death in the family and I haven't made that video yet. I posted publicly about it. That's why I haven't made the video. It's on a list. Sometimes I miss stories because I have a life that I'm dealing with, but people don't give a shit about that stuff. You don't. You just want to know what's actually going on. I'm not using that as a defense for not making the video, but that's why it wasn't made. IGN did make a big article about it, though. Anyway, Xbox knows about all of these criticisms, that they need to get on the ball with Jesus. Xbox knows their shortcomings. They know that they need to get on the ball with a regular release cadence. They just had a massive shakeup in management to address that problem. 2023 was a very positive year for Xbox. 2024 and beyond is looking great for Xbox also. But in 2020, the Xbox Series X launch year was pretty light, saw the delay of Halo Infinite, and there were no console exclusives at launch. 2021 felt like they finally hit their stride. IGN gave Forza Horizon 5 their game of the year. I loved the Halo Infinite campaign, and multiplayer seemed really, really strong. And then 2022 had a string of misfires with a few gems near the end, like Pentiment and High on Life were two that I really liked at the time. Right. Lost my spot. I should probably just read this to get through it. I'd even throw As Dusk Falls in there, which I saw a lot of positivity around, and I actually ended up liking more than I expected. But Phil Spencer, I believe he called 2022's release calendar a disaster, and they had an emergency meeting to address that problem. They knew it had to be fixed, and 2023 was a lot better for Xbox, and it seems like 2024, now that they own Activision, could be a major year for them, in addition to all the leaked stuff that we saw. I only talk about all this because I feel like there's this idea that 2022 was an amazing year for Xbox, and it just wasn't. Like, there were some good games that came up, but it was a rough year for the Xbox brand. And the leadership team knows that. Even the start of 2023 was frustrating with the Redfall issue, but the games released through the end of the year have been a lot better. I love Forza Motorsport. It's sitting at an 85 on Metacritic. Starfield, while contentious, it's sitting at an 83. Modern Warfare 3 seems to be universally disliked by fans and critics with a 1.8 user score and 56 average review for PlayStation, and it scored higher on Xbox with a 60. It's just a bad example, though, because it's a bad game. So, like, if you're using Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, it's just not a good example because of what I outlined earlier. Now, I do have to say that I have seen some straight up bad takes, like the Starfield player count article is ridiculous, and I have seen some bad tweets and posts, which I've often called out, and most of those have been deleted for years, right? People make bad calls sometimes. They do. Or they don't understand why something's problematic. People call them on it, and they say, that was bad, let's take it down. I'm going to skip this part, actually. A good example would be the Forza video I made, right? I saw no issue with my capture methodology, so I doubled down saying, like, there is no issue with my capture methodology. That's just how the game looks. I found the gamma bug because somebody pointed me to Digital Foundry, and Digital Foundry let me know that, like, there's a gamma bug, corrected the video, issued an apology, and reposted it. And I made a follow-up video diving super deep into the differences between Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo 7. And I think it's a little weird, especially when you're talking about sim racing. Why wouldn't you want to look at what the competition is doing and see what works better and what works better on Xbox? And that's what you do when you're a fan of sim racing, right? You want to know about the subtle differences between two products. But the point is, I made a mistake. It was taken down. It was corrected and reposted. And that's what happened in a lot of the instances that are brought up. It's identified that there's a mistake, and then the mistake is corrected. There's negativity around Xbox. Again, I'm not denying that. I don't think that proves there's an industry working against Xbox, though. And that's what the Xbox tax seems to be about. I don't agree with it. If that's your idea of an Xbox tax, then I don't agree with it. It can't just be that there are negative posts about Xbox, because that's true about every platform, right? Often simple criticism I've seen labeled as an Xbox tax. Criticisms like my image about the resolution that led to the improvement of the console with the Xbox One X. Granted, it wasn't my image that did it, but it was an overall sentiment about that 900p resolution on the Xbox One, being that the Xbox One is holding back the capability of these games, and Xbox improved it. That's a good thing. If you see something that is not living up to expectations, you have to call it out, because it gives that brand a chance to improve. I would love it if PlayStation improved a lot of their policies, or continued to work on their cloud streaming to get it on par with where Xbox is. Just cloud streaming in general, I think it's cool technology. And if I think it's not living up to a standard, then I think we should call it out. I will agree there are some straight up bad takes out there. There are dumb posts that are made. I think that's true of all brands, though, right? Look, one of the things that's I'm being written off basically because I work at IGN. I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, watching this video, giving you my honest, truthful feelings about the whole situation. I worked really hard to build this channel because I believe in Xbox, and I believe in where they're going, and I believe in their accomplishments, and I'm excited about where Xbox is going. I see the positivity. I see positivity constantly for the Xbox brand, and that's what I want to focus on. That's why I don't buy the Xbox tax, because I don't agree on this particular topic, because I see a lot of positive things also, because I keep an eye out for it and I celebrate it when I see it, right? Xbox is set up for success. A few dumb tweets and dumb articles that criticize Xbox are not going to matter if Xbox sorts their house out, has a regular release cadence of banger games constantly, and once they hit their stride, they're going to do great. And this is all going to be in the past. So that's why I don't agree with it. I said there was a PlayStation tax in 2000. Did I actually say that? There is no way I said there was a PlayStation tax. Is Xbox tax the same as the Nintendo tax? I think COD tax is silly. However, I do think that there are many cases of media members showing bias. By the way, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I don't mean to bring up the loss as a defense. It's just, it's frustrating because it's like, yeah, I had this negative thing happen and everyone's like, why didn't you make a video about PlayStation being sued for $7.2 billion? I did make that video when the lawsuit was first broached, actually. I haven't done a follow-up video about it. Love how you going to each thing and just waving it off. Like, at what point does it stop being coincidence? Please show the same pattern for PlayStation. There's no, like, if you want the rest of my channel to be me looking for negative posts about PlayStation, like, I'm just not going to do that. this is probably the last time I'm ever going to talk about this, because I think the whole thing's ridiculous, and I made that pretty clear. Bro, you are biased. You work for one of the biggest offenders of the Xbox tax. The editor that reviewed Starfield was biased. The editor has played every Bethesda game. The person who reviewed Starfield, Dan Stapleton, loves Bethesda games. He gave it a 7 out of 10, which is slightly below the Metacritic average. Reddit has largely... I don't have to defend it. Like, if you go look at the sentiment several months post-launch, once people caught up to where the reviewer was, a lot of people were like, yeah, a lot of the criticisms were on point. Maybe the score should have been maybe people think the score should have been a point higher, but yeah. All right, so I have a Discord that I used to use often, and I'm going to let you call in. I'm going to trust you not to be profane. We can be passionate in our disagreements. That's fine. I don't really care about that. Try and keep the swearing to a minimum. Wozniak's calling in already. So the way it works is I drop you into You're Up Next, and then I go into live chat. I'll be in live chat. Let me, oh man, I don't remember how to invite people. All right, let me see here. All right, so I'm just going to spam the Discord link in chat because I don't know how stuff works. As a guy who loves Xbox, I think I'm just tired of the constant hate from gaming community. C-chat, lol. Also, it feels like IGN feeds into it. Okay. I can't talk about, like, I can't speak on behalf of IGN. I can only speak about my personal opinions. I can't tell you what my colleagues have going on in their brain, right? So, yeah. I'm going to bring Wozniak into live chat. Nick, can you hear me? And fix everything that's broken. I haven't used Discord in a little bit. Give me a sec. Everything's broken. I can hear you. Can you hear me? On Discord. No, we can't. Where's voice and video? Input. Can you hear me now on Discord? Yeah. Wozniak. All right. Okay, so how do I do this? Man.
Take your time. So good.
Yeah. All right, let's see if this works. Is everything going to break? It didn't break. We did it. So this is... Nick, can you talk for a sec? One sec. Oh, sorry. Sorry. One sec here. I'm going to change this to Discord. I don't know how to do anything. Okay, talk again, please.
Okay, can you hear me? Is everything good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so it's Ari here.
Talking to Ari on Discord Live.
Yeah, so first of all, my sincere condolences about your loss.
Thank you.
It's tough. And, there's people that can't understand the difference between the public person and, yourself. So forget about those guys. I think that everyone is causing a fuss regarding this Xbox tax. And sincerely, what you're doing is way beyond what you needed to. Okay? Everyone must understand something. We need to have our opinions, okay? And because of that, we must respect the other opinions.
Yeah.
And, the situation is simple. Sometimes people can buy just a single console, all right? And they want to defend that as a war.
So you think
you don't have to.
You think it's sort of like old school
tribalism.
Thank you.
It's tribalism.
Tribalism.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the point. We must respect the other's opinions. I think, yes, I guess sometimes someone can say or provide a bad review regarding a particular game or something, and then someone you use this tax situation. That's not the fact. And everyone must remember something. Everyone must remember that we have a situation where uh, we have our own opinions, okay? We have our own opinions, and we cannot say that my opinion is my company opinion. You have your
Han, that was
opinion.
corrected.
Yeah. You have your opinion. It may differ from your bosses. It may differ from your corporate world. Right? So that's my take on this.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think that's a good point. Thanks for calling in and let me test the mic. I think you're right. I think people definitely have their brand preferences, and they get upset when people are saying negative things about the brand that they prefer. And I think that's partially about it. But I want to get into some of the stuff that I've seen in the proof thread really quick. I forgot to go to that. So thank you, Ari. I appreciate you calling in.
All right. All right. So before leaving, I just want to wish you and everyone listening to the live stream an excellent weekend. Take care, guys. And remember, peace. Let's respect each other, okay?
Yeah.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Well, that was nice. Ari is a nice guy. I wanted to bring up some of these posts that are brought up as like proof, right? Scoop says on X, I think we as individual gamers, the media favors PlayStation, and you'll gaslight us saying we believe it's a grand organized conspiracy. Nailed it spot on. Still support you though. I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, I keep getting accused of gaslighting. You're Scoop, I appreciate the donation. You're saying that the media favors PlayStation, which would be a bit of a conspiracy. But then you say I'm gaslighting you by saying you're saying that it's a conspiracy. Did I get that wrong? That's what I don't understand, right? Well, all media prefers PlayStation. I mean, there's some reality there where PlayStation has sold more consoles than Xbox. So I don't know what to say. That's just reality, right? Anyway. In other news, Jess from WC said Xbox will be at the Game Awards. I hope it's a Gear 6 reveal. That would be awesome. Tim says, it is not a conspiracy that the media favors PlayStation, but there is no organized conspiracy to bring down Xbox. I mean, Destin, that's literally the definition of gaslighting. He said there's a conspiracy, and then let me read it again. The media favors PlayStation. You'll gaslight us saying we believe it's a grand organized. Okay, well, it's not an organized conspiracy. Scoop followed up. As individual gamers, not as it being a company mandate. If you just do @Destin Scoop, I'll read your comments. Thank you for the $5. Okay, like, look, I don't really know what to say. I don't think it's if they like playing on PlayStation more, I think they can separate. I don't really get it. I don't mean to gaslight you, but the sentiment being posted makes it sound like there's this idea PlayStation sold more consoles, it gets favorable reviews. Call of Duty reviewed better on Xbox. So I don't understand. I wouldn't say it gets favorable reviews. I would say there's a chance that it gets more reviews because there's a larger install base. So more codes are distributed on that platform. Just because I don't know how to lay that out clearer, really. Anyway, Let me go to all right, here's the proof thread. Oh boy. Disagreements are not gaslighting. I am not trying to gaslight anybody. Yeah, anyway. Here's the proof thread. Okay, yeah. So John Wolf's been adding me a whole bunch. I read most of this stuff, by the way. I've been pretty quiet on Twitter, and then, you know, I'm trending, and Xbox tax is trending. So that happens. Is IGN suck up to Sony for free review codes? No. Absolutely not. It's not a reality. Gamebolt, Call of Duty's time is up. It's time to move on. I think that's dumb. I don't even know what that is. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 beta is awful and Microsoft has wasted its money. This is a reader's feature, which means a reader wrote it. It's not written by a journalist, as far as I can tell. This is a dumb article. This one is stupid. Starfield could be in trouble as player numbers plummet. Yeah, that's just a bad headline. That's stupid. And then Paul calls it out. Can't believe numbers are dropping for the single player game. Checks notes 79 days after release. This actual post actually got community noted. Hey, Clay. So that one's bad post. I'm not like hand waving stuff away. I am explaining to you what, like, this says nothing about Xbox. This is not an Xbox post. How does this prove an Xbox tax? Where's accountability? Why don't journal articles, posts get called out by others in media? Because it happens privately, MC. Out of respect. Because that's how you handle stuff in real life. I don't at my boss at work. Like, I don't, if I was working at UPS, I don't show up to my boss's house and start yelling at him with his family, right? So yeah, there's accountability and like, yeah, hand waving things off. I don't see how I'm hand waving things off. I don't think I'm in a winning solution because I'm sitting here taking live calls, reading tweets live, giving you my personal opinion as somebody who's worked in the industry for 15 years, going back to my Screw Attack days. And you're saying like I'm complicit or something. These are bad examples. One of them are good for a bad post. Like that's a bad post, but like, let me see if anybody called. Oh, we got a few people calling in. All right. So 1 second. Oop. I wanted to read the examples first and then take the calls because there's all these tweets that I wanted to address. Forza Horizon 5 snub for overall game of the year at Keeley's. I actually think that was a dumb cutoff call. I think Jeff Keighley unfollowed me because of it. Because I said, hey, I think this is a bad call. Anyway, I actually agree with you on this instance. I voted for it in IGN's Game of the Year, and it won. Forza Horizon 5 was IGN's Game of the Year. Knight says there's no Xbox tax. There is genre bias regarding Game of the Year. Forza Horizon 5 got IGN's, but wasn't nominated in Keeley's award show. It did win 3 awards at Keeley's. It did win 3 awards, though. Daniel Mod makes a joke. This one was weird. So Justin says, mysteriously not doing a video for Psychonauts 2 after Xbox acquired Double Fine because they didn't have enough time. A sequel 16 years in the making. They gave it the best game of 2021. Real Joker says, you've been calling out Sony practices for years. Yeah, I have. Let me continue on. I didn't understand this post. You have an Xbox focused channel. Aren't you putting your channel at risk by doing this witch hunting? I'm not hunting anybody. Who am I going after with witch hunting? I'm saying I don't think there's an Xbox tax. I'm not hunting anybody. I'm trying to explain why I don't think an Xbox tax is a thing. So I don't understand the witch hunting angle. Wouldn't be better just to move on? You are looking right now more focused on defending your media colleagues than being an Xbox influencer. I'm just a human being. My job is not to be an Xbox influencer. Like, that's a little crazy to me to think that my whole job is to be an Xbox influencer. I talk about Xbox. I like Xbox. I'm not witch hunting anybody. I'm not an Xbox influencer. That's not my profession. And like, I asked him for a follow-up. I'm like, do you want me to just like say what you want to hear? It's like, is it my job to just say what people want to hear? I don't get it. Here's my follow-up. Honest question. Do you think my job is to be an influencer? And what is my responsibility exactly as an influencer? To only say positive things, to not disagree? I just have no idea what you're getting at here. I'm very confused by that post. And I'm hoping he clears it up. Ziff Davis, who is Sony's media partner, owns IGN. What are you talking about? Are you talking about Dame appointed a former Sony executive as GM? That guy is not at IGN. I don't know who you're talking about, but that's not a thing. Not that I know of. But I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. I think I know what you're talking about. It's not a thing. Anyway. Ah, shit. Alex is here. All right. Stream's over, everybody. Everybody get out of here. Alex is here. John McKinnon. This one was weird. Starfield was never announced for PlayStation. Articles daily? There were daily articles crying about it? I think daily is a little much. Mass media outrage. Outrage? I think there was some GameSpot stuff. I don't know that there was outrage. Stellar Blade. What? I'm sorry. Stellar Blade was actually officially announced for Xbox. Silence. I had to ask, what is Stellar Blade? Because I didn't know they changed the name of Project Eve to Stellar Blade. So I looked it up. Why did nobody talk about Stellar Blade? Well, here's Starfield from Bethesda, a renowned developer that's been in the industry as long as I can remember. Here's general interest for Starfield. If you can see the red line, that's Stellar Blade. It's under the yellow line, which is Project Eve. Maybe I'll take off the yellow line so you can see the red line more clearly. You see that flat line on the bottom? I see people bringing up tweets that happened, and it's just like people's personal tweets. Oh, here's a good one. Here's another one. I'll get to the 9-year difference in exclusive things. From IGN for getting certain games that was deleted and corrected to Xbox recently was a mistake. I'm sure. This one's hard to explain to people how editing works. So in editing, you can hit Alt and you can move a lower third to another spot. And I've made this mistake in editing. The script always said it's coming to everything. But like when you move it, sometimes you forget to update the lower third. And there's still screenshots of the deleted video that have been going around online. I'm going to be vague about this, sir, but that tweet that was posted 6 times was followed up on. I'll just say that. Meta's publishing negative articles that about Xbox should leave gaming. I didn't see that. Metro. Okay. Now this one is weird, and oh, you guys can't see what I'm talking about. Sorry. So this one was weird. the Xbox One will soon let you play pirated movies and TV shows. The PS now supports MKV files. This one was super weird to me because I'm like, I think I read. Jeff, are you in the call waiting? I'll take the call after this one if you really want to talk. Xbox One will soon let you play pirated movies and TV shows. The PS4 now supports MKV files. So this is the article, and it's really positive. It's not the kind of news that makes the headlines during a press conference, but it's the kind of news that can help sell systems. The Xbox One is getting native official support for MKV, one of the world's most popular video formats containers. Let's get real. While they have many technical benefits, they're popular because people download stuff. He talks about pirating and watching streaming movies, and seems overall positive. So it sure seems like Microsoft is stepping in where Sony left a gap in the market. And here is the Sony follow-up. The PS4 now supports MKV files. That's the whole article. It's just that the PS4 media player should now be available for download, which you should do. It finally, this is like more negative tone. And then it talks about the media formats. Xbox One owners, in case you weren't aware, your console already supports this kind of stuff. So he's like, I don't understand how. It's just an article about the MKV format. I don't, whatever. Xbox One will soon let you play pirated movies and TV shows. The PS4 now supports MKV files. Like maybe Luke in 2014 got so much hate that he didn't do it again for the next one. I don't know, man. If you read the article is super positive. You are, because it's ridiculous, Eclipse. The examples that are concrete, like the Starfield player concurrence, that's dumb. I don't see how this is. He's talking about how great it is that he can watch his pirated movies now on Xbox, and he's happy about it. So anyway, that one was sent to me a lot. Somebody's like really mad that I'm not letting people call in. Is Jmart the person? All right, we're going to do Jmart. How do I do this? I don't remember how to do this. J. Test. JJ, you there? Piracy isn't good. I would agree. John Wolf, Destin, amazing you were doing this. John, call in. You've been one of the most vocal persons about how I'm wrong. I would love to chat with you. One thing to take into consideration is that constant negative news cycle toward Xbox. I would argue that with you, Colin, and others, create a brand new gaming outlet to compete. I don't know. I can't really respond to taking down the whole industry, but thank you for the $4.99 max. All right, let's bring in Black Wolf. Black Wolf, you there? I'm going to give everybody 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Black Wolf is not there. Chaos. We'll do Price. Price, you there?
Hello.
Oh, hey, all right. Price is there. Price, hello.
Hi. First of all, I really enjoy your content.
Thanks, Price.
Your cookies are really good, by the way.
You've had them?
Really good.
Everybody tries to throw a dig at me once in a while about the cookies, and they're wrong.
Really cool, dog. Really cool. Okay, but to your point,
yeah,
I think these people are highly delusional. They have unconscious. Every person has unconscious bias to a certain extent. But do I think there's a gaming Illuminati? Some gaming Illuminati where all journalists talk negatively about Microsoft? That's highly delusional and not based on reality at all.
I mean,
like,
so like, So
if that
like,
was the case,
yeah, go ahead.
man, yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. If that was the case, when Microsoft was taking Sony's lunch money and eating their dinner in the 360 era, and Sony was getting had a negative reception on everywhere you looked online. I didn't see one article about some PlayStation tax, Sony tax.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Don Matrick in the Xbox One reveal, everybody remembers, he told Jeff with a straight face, if you don't have internet, we have a console for you. The Xbox 360.
That was that's that statement and that whole reaction to the negativity around it almost destroyed the Xbox brand. Now people are calling you out. They're saying that sentiment that you said at the beginning of the call is about the grand conspiracy or whatever is what they feel like is gaslighting. Like that's not what they're saying.
How is that? What else? What else can you call it? What else can you call it?
That's the problem. That's what I'm trying to ask people to refine. Like if that's not what you're saying, what are you saying?
The definition, the book definition of a conspiracy is something sinister is happening behind the scenes. That's their take. Their take is there's a cabal of every gaming outlet on the planet against Microsoft and Xbox. It has a negative sentiment. Which do they get negative articles? Everybody get negative articles. I don't think it's not based in reality at all. There's not a cabal of game journalists, IGN, Polygon, every outlet out there. There's no editor there that says, "Oh, I'm gonna make it my life's mission to slander the Microsoft and Xbox brand." They do that enough as them on. Don Matrick lost them the generation, and Phil Spencer has gone on record multiple times about Xbox shortcomings. And every shortcoming that gets reported, they say it is Xbox tax. But when Phil Spencer talks about their shortcomings, there's no Xbox tax.
Mm.
So which one is it?
Yeah. I want to talk to some other people, but I appreciate you calling in, and I'm really glad you had the cookies.
Yeah, the cookies are really good. I'm about some more before y'all start selling them in December.
Yeah, we're going to stop in December. I don't know if you're local, but...
I'm not. I live way far away.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take some other calls. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
Well, he was nice. I see everybody in chat saying he's gaslighting. So I encourage people to call in and explain it to me like I'm 3 years old because I don't get it either. I see the negative posts about Xbox, right? I see that people have negative sentiment. I don't think that means there's a tax. I don't understand what you mean by tax because I've seen everything from any criticism from Xbox is a tax. He got cookies, so he's chill. That's right, Clay. To whatever. I'm just going to spam the chat with the Discord link because I don't know how technology works that well. If I'm doing it wrong, let me know. KW says there's not some conspiracy with Dan and his buddies. It's individual people with biases. Xbox is hammered disproportionately. How do you call in? I'm just going to spam the link here. Let me just send the link. What's the purpose of an Xbox focused channel? My audience just gravitated towards the Xbox topic, so I talk about Xbox. I'm going to bring in KT. KT, can you hear me? KT the GOAT. Oh, Nib. I'll take Nib next. Well, Nib agrees with me. I want somebody who disagrees with me. KT, I'm going to give you like another second here. Jeff
Hello?
Martinez. All right, Jeff Mart. I had you in. Hey, KT, I hear you.
I apologize.
One sec. J Mart, I had you in, but you weren't talking, so I put you out. I'll bring you next. KT, how's it going?
It's going great.
What
Okay.
are your
First
thoughts?
of all, I love you. I'm gonna start this off like the last guy. Now here's where I'm gonna veer off.
But then it's gonna get nasty. Yeah.
No, it's not gonna get nasty. I'm gonna be honest though,
Yeah.
right? You're avoiding the headlines. The one headline you just read, the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Look at the negativity towards Xbox and how for PlayStation it's just whatever. I'll bring you a better example. Last year,
Yeah.
you still, even with your video, right? You brought up a lot about how, like, okay, Phil Spencer said it sucked in 2022. Everyone else did, right? PlayStation this year has been disintegrating. I mean, they've lost studios, they've canceled exclusives.
Yeah. I'm concerned about PlayStation. I agree. I've been very concerned.
But we're talking about the media, right? And the media doesn't say anything about any of this. Yesterday, I watched the video about a guy talking about how you're not supposed to stand up your PlayStation at all. The liquid cooling literally goes downwards. This is a guy who repairs PlayStation. The media doesn't come. Now let Xbox, look at the news right now. Xbox is dying in Europe, but all of this stuff is happening at PlayStation, but everyone's constantly choosing to make you, like you said, you don't feel Starfield player count. Okay.
That one's dumb. That one I'm going to give you just straight up. That is a bad headline. There's no like mincing words on that one. It's just, and it even got community noted. Like it takes a lot to get community noted. So that's like almost impressive. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree. But I mean, I'm just saying, it's a lot of, and you know what I had to say to myself? There is an Xbox tax, but there really isn't an Xbox tax as much as there's a PlayStation gift card. See, the thing is, why Xbox fans are mad is the fact that the media criticizes Xbox for every move, good, bad, whatever. PlayStation does the exact same thing. I could even give you another example from this year, right? When the documents came out with Xbox talking about digital-only consoles, everyone was losing it. Oh, they're leaving consoles and they're trying to force this digital-only thing on us. PlayStation literally this year says we're going to drop a digital-only console, and everybody's like, cool. Great job. This is good business.
Well, wait. I feel like you're being a little revisionist because I don't agree that was the sentiment. I think that the PlayStation Slim received a heavy amount of criticism. And while I did see the Xbox criticism about it being digital only, I did see criticism about the PlayStation Slim also and how it's like digital only.
Okay, but we see week-long media runs? That's the thing, right? Let's okay. Again, you work at IGN. You was there as y'all was killing them for Redfall, right? That continued even. Listen, PlayStation announced T-Lou was being. First of all, we've never ever heard media say on ice. If a game's canceled, it's canceled. Okay, that game's canceled. Let's not play coy here, right?
Kotaku reported for context for those listening. Kotaku reported that The Last of Us Factions is on ice after Bungie feedback. That's what he's referencing.
Oh yeah, I mean, but even beyond that, we know Kotaku wasn't the only media. Like IGN did also. That there was their media headline for that day with the talk of today was it's on ice. They they refuse to use the word cancel. Now, if something happens at Xbox, it's canceled and it's bad. But again, back to that. At the same time they announced that, they ran the article. Jason Schreier ran an article about how T-Lou Factions, it was trouble, a little bit of trouble at Sony. That's what he said. But it seems like everything is okay because they're moving to another IP. That doesn't sound like an on ice game. That sounds like it's canceled because all the developers are leaving and going to another game. But neither here nor there. So the main part is the next day. Do you know what article he ran?
Who? The
problem behind Redfall.
Who's he?
Jason Schreier.
And
these are his true back-to-back day articles. He went from talking about T-Lou. He didn't say anything else. He said, look, it's on ice, but everything's cool. You know, they're moving on to a new IP. His article the next day was on Redfall. That's the point. It's like,
but like that's
Xbox makes a problem.
Well, to me, man, my read on that is Schreier did a negative article about PlayStation, then he did a negative article about Redfall. Like that's balanced, people, isn't it?
Right? No, and that's why I said I love you, Destiny, and I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
you're a media person, right?
Yeah.
So you sometimes you may.
I'm
not,
at a detriment.
Huh?
Like I see everything behind the scenes. I talk to these people. To me, these are individuals and people. And I think the problem.
This is what I feel like. Maybe the distance between us as your fans and you as the media guys. Your proof of the media not being biased is the media. That doesn't make sense. That's like saying we're the police. We
I
have
get what you're saying.
investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing.
You know, when you phrase it that way, I get what you're saying. It's because Dan Stapleton, I consider a good friend, right? So like when he makes a joke, I'm like, ha, I get your joke because I know Dan and I infer how Dan talks and everything, right? That context isn't available for everybody though.
Agree, and that's the point. Like, that's what I'm saying. Listen, I'm not, like I told you, I was going to veer from the last guy. I wasn't going to come scathing. F you, you're a piece of. Look,
no, man, you're perfect. You're perfect. And I want, you're great.
That way. I just think you guys, like, maybe the media, you guys have a tendency to think like, no offense, we care about you, certain people, right? We as fans care about Destin Laguerre. We don't care about IGN. We no offense. We think your company's a piece of shit. Like, no offense. Seriously. Because the things you're saying, we get that that's your friends. But what we see as the fans is literally for the last months, they've been leaving Xbox off of how you never coincidentally make these mistakes for PlayStation or Nintendo.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Mm-hmm. Would you rather that I'm at IGN hearing these concerns and bringing them to IGN leadership and saying, I'm hearing all of these concerns, which is what I do, and we work to address them? Or would you rather I wasn't there at all?
Well, here's what I'll say. I believe everything you're saying until you're saying work to address them. You are telling them, hoping that it's being addressed. Those people are not addressing them. Again, your editors, Cat Bailey, we know these names because they've literally made insults towards Xbox and praises of PlayStation.
Did you know Cat's go look at Cat's Twitter profile and go look at all the positive stuff she said about Xbox over the last years. Does all of that disintegrate? If
no,
a person
it doesn't.
Makes a mistake?
What we have to do, right, is we say over the years how many positive Xbox, how many positive PlayStation. Because this is the problem, right? You guys,
I think you really get into the weeds there. You know,
because who?
Well, like I think that just really gets into the weeds because like you're like, oh, I gotta balance how many times they post about it. Like,
because
and that's why I think it's not like a
media,
thing,
though, aren't you?
But that's a personal brand. Like, go look at the reporting.
Destin, I own company. Nobody in my company will be able to say something that goes against our company values. That doesn't make sense. And you know that. And listen, as a person who runs business, that's BS, and you know it. They will not allow you to have a personal channel that go out. Even your channel, no offense. I love you because I like Xbox, but I'm also no idiot because I love Xbox. Xbox was trash last gen. They've been doing quite well this generation. It's a lot of PlayStation flaws no one's going to talk about. And I'm not saying that I know that's a part of the business plan. Like, some things have to, because again, I know the Ziff Davis, whatever you were talking about, the guy who you brought up something about the Ziff Davis thing earlier. I'm not going to say that's a fact, right? But what I will say is the company that you guys are owned by, one of their main backers are Sony, like not PlayStation, but Sony.
Where is that coming from? Because that's not a thing.
Is Ziff Davis who owns you guys? I know he was saying.
I have to be just for context. I have to be very careful what I say about the company who I work for.
No, agreed. That's what I'm saying.
Because
no offense, I don't even want to bring that up because
yes, I can confirm Ziff Davis is the parent company, but it's not owned by Sony or something.
I don't want to get on that, right? Because I do understand the terms of business and the company stuff. That's what I'm saying. I will listen, Destin. All I can say is, as fans, right? Our problem and why we know that the Xbox tax is real is because we know that the PlayStation.
I missed X-Wolf. Dang it.
Huh?
I missed X-Wolf. Sorry, X-Wolf. Sorry, I was bringing somebody up next. No, you're all right.
That's my apologies. No, okay. I was saying, we know we may not be sure if the Xbox tax is real, but we're positive that the Sony gift card is factual, and that's the problem that Xbox fans are having. We can't listen. I don't want to make this a console war thing.
Yeah.
Those PlayStation games this generation have been very underwhelming. The same way that you guys are accepting Starfield wasn't that great because, it had a bunch of flaws. So no one's going to talk about the fact that, let's start back at Horizon Forbidden West. That Horizon Forbidden West state of play, gameplay trailer, you remember that? So no one's going to talk about the fact that none of that gameplay was doable in game. You know, gave it up. No one said nothing. PlayStation, when they did the same thing with GT7, they added the story in afterwards and had all the people reviewing it before saying, "Oh, it was no store." Like telling people, we know you heard it was a store. It's no store. Buy the game. They bought the game. It was a store in it. Like it's so many things that if this was happening on the Xbox side, not only would it be like brought up, it would be constantly brought up because what everyone says right in media is, well, we're saying it because we want Xbox to be better.
Yeah, I got
and the problem is with PlayStation, I don't know if we want them to be better. I don't get what's going. I'm gonna say that for myself because I'm an Xbox fan because I think Xbox did a lot for gaming. I think people undercredit them sometimes. I won't kiss their ass and give them neck or whatever. But what I will say is,
I miss John Wolf. Sorry, chat. John
at this
Wolf
point, PlayStation needs to have as much scrutiny, and until that, you'll probably hear that Xbox has a tax. I will go about my way. You're losing callers.
No, it's all right, man. I really appreciate you. You bring up good points, some of which I can't discuss. I don't want to like get in trouble at work for like I don't want to speak on behalf of IGN. I don't want to speak on behalf of my colleagues. But some of the other stuff you bring up, I hear you. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so if Wolf comes back, I'll bring him in. Wolf, if you're still watching, I think he bounced. Dang it. He had like points he wanted to bring up. I read his tweets and I wanted to talk to him. Oh, he's back. All right, boom. John, hey. No, come back. I brought you in because everybody wants to hear from you. Just unmute your mic. I'll call it. Why was this stream not a good idea, Fanto? John, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing, Dustin?
Good. And this is the John you were like tweeting at me. I read your tweets about the Call of Duty thing that I don't really understand.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, just first and foremost, amazing that you're doing this, brother. I think that there's a conversation that needs to be had here. So it's great that you're doing this. I think that the last caller pretty much nailed, pretty much summarized what the majority of the Xbox community feels. It's not coming from there's a cabal behind the scenes type thing. It's just the selective few media outlets and personnel that have biases. So I think he did a good job of covering that back there. But I'm going to ask you one question so you can go into this with an open mind and maybe digest it a little more as the weekend goes by. So I put this out there for you. And this is the biggest example of what it is that I guess that we're trying to say. If the media guys like yourself, if you guys can band together, unspoken probably, and let's say put a tax toward the game like Hogwarts Legacy, surrounding all of the outside mumbo jumbo stuff going on with J.K. Rowling and all that stuff, why can't the same be done for Xbox? So I'm sitting back and I'm just looking at constant headlines on a daily basis. And it seems like if there is this unspoken thing where some outlets get off on posting constantly, nonstop on a daily basis, negativity towards the Xbox brand. And it's kind of weird because
who posts daily?
You don't see the same energy.
Wolf, who posts daily negative stuff? Just to stay on that for a second.
No problem. The last example I can give you is when Starfield was released, right? Why did your own site, IGN, have a need to constantly remind everyone on a daily basis that the game got a 7 out of 10? It's kind of like that, I understand.
Well, all I can tell you is like that's a different department, and then like I can't like nobody on the news team is going to social and saying, "Hey, repost that 900 times." Like that's not happening. So like I get. I don't know what else to say about it. Like,
Yeah,
so,
so
and I have that context, and I think that's part of the disconnect is I have the context of something that happened unintentionally versus what's seen, if that makes sense.
it understood, Dustin,
Yeah.
and I'm coming at this conversation, of course, giving you the benefit of the doubt. It's easier
Mhm.
for me just to say things without actually being in in the kitchen per se, but just from an outside perspective, right? Looking in,
Mhm.
it just makes me scratch my head when I hear and see things, and I'm just speaking up on the fact that I don't see the same energy across the board. So I'll give you an
Mhm.
example.
Well,
In my own personal feelings, Nintendo has been all but forgiven for the Wii U generation. Everybody's put that behind them. The PlayStation has been all but forgiven for the PS3 generation. That has been put behind everyone. Xbox cannot let go of the Xbox One generation. Why? Aren't we well past the Xbox One days already, and we're
how,
here with a more healthy and progressive Xbox than ever before?
how how is the Xbox One generation still like I see the community bringing up stuff from like my resolution image still comes up today. That's from 9 years ago, right? And I see posts cited as evidence from that era. But I don't think, like, in what way has the Xbox One era not been forgotten? I don't
Yeah,
know.
the
Yeah.
the the what I can tell you is that just from again, just from an outside perspective, and just from podcasts that I've heard going against this whole Xbox tax thing, they blame it on one thing, and that's that Xbox hasn't released any good games. That's what they solely base it on, and that people like me calling out the Xbox tax just don't want to face the reality that Xbox doesn't release good games, and they haven't shaken off that Xbox One era of where
But
Xbox was.
but they have released good games. Starfield's sitting at an 83
Agreed.
and Forza Motorsport is sitting at a 86. I want to they're in the 80s, right? That's good.
Agreed.
Those are good games. And those
Agreed.
are two off the top of my head.
No, agreed, Dustin,
So
and me and you, we're right there. We're right there in agreement. But the thing
yeah,
is that when the Xbox tax comes into fruition, right? It's the way I feel right now, right? I can almost guarantee, and maybe others will feel the same way.
Mhm.
If Xbox was to release a game, cookie cutter, frame for frame, just like God of War, they will have what is known as the Xbox tax on them compared to the PlayStation version of that game. Why that is, Destin, I wish I knew. And again,
I
it's
don't
not
think,
everyone.
see,
It's not,
I
yeah,
don't
it's not
agree
fair
with
for
the,
me.
John, I don't agree with the premise though. That's the problem. I don't think if Xbox, like Rise, Son of Rome, right? Everybody I think agreed that that gameplay was pretty good, except for it gets repetitive in the back half. I remember when that game came out, I remember a lot of positivity around that product. But yeah, it got a little stale because it was like you kind of mastered it by, I think it was like Act 2. And then for the rest of it, it just kind of got a little monotonous. And that was the main criticism towards that product. But that Rise is a great game. And I think most
No,
people
it
like
is,
that game.
and again, it's not comparing Rise
Yeah.
toe to toe with God of War per se. The conversation is more of the feeling, the energy that I feel is that even if Xbox was to copy God of War and just put a different character in there, and it was the same exact game, they would get criticized for things that when the reviewer was reviewing God of War can bypass and say, you know what, it's PlayStation, it's the goodness. I can forgive them for these things. Xbox gets
Okay.
held to a
Yeah.
different standard.
So that's the part we disagree. I think if a game of the same caliber of God of War was released on Xbox, it would get showered with praise. Honestly.
I disagree.
Well, yeah. So that's just the point of disagreement between us, right?
Yeah.
And like I just want to say, I think your God of War post, I think that is a difficult one to help make your point because that was made under very strenuous conditions during the merger. Like I don't even put that, I put that at Kodak's feet. I don't put that at Xbox's feet. I don't see any correlations being made between the Xbox purchasing anything to do with Call of Duty. I think the community doesn't like Call of Duty. I think that reviewers didn't like Call of Duty very much, and it's just a problematic release. So I think that's a different category of game. Now, if we talk again in 2 years and there's been 2 Call of Duty releases under the Xbox banner and they're hugely problematic, then maybe you're onto something. But I think one very negative Call of Duty, and I responded to you, I'm like, this game was going to be canceled, right? And they still put it out the door. And Xbox worked really hard to support the game and, you know, their new teammates by promoting it on the front of the Xbox dashboard and stuff, which I don't think people like ads being thrown in their face like that. But point is, it's just sort of a weird one. And the original video is largely about that being a weird one to make for the Xbox tax case. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And again, I respect your point of view, but again, it's hard for me to kind of agree whole blanketly. Like, okay, there is no such thing as an Xbox tax when I, for myself, with my own eyes, see on a daily basis things that make me question if there is. If it was the same across the board, it would be easier for me to say, okay, that's just, no, there's nothing there. But when I consistently see the same things over and over again, and then Gaming Bolt bringing out an article that it's time to move past Call of Duty, why now?
I laughed when I saw that.
Now the time to get past Call of Duty.
See, again, I don't agree that that's correlated to Xbox, and I actually laughed out loud when I read that headline because it's just
yeah.
because
I mean,
it's
why now?
funny. It's just a bad headline. There are bad headlines out there, right? And I think people have bad takes, but I just don't see it as a concrete evidence. And I do think if you're looking for only the negative stuff and looking for evidence about this idea that Xbox isn't going to get a fair shake, then I think you'll find it. And what I really like to see is, and what I've done in this channel is I look for the positivity and I highlight the positivity. I'm critical of Xbox. I have been my entire career, and it's often resulted in my criticism and many other criticisms in a better product. And I'm happy about that, right? So I don't know, man. We don't agree, but I really appreciate you calling in and bringing up your side of the argument. That's why I don't want to have a show where everybody just calls in and agrees with me, right? People are like, yeah, they're really putting the screws to Destin. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of want that though, right?
Yeah,
I want you to change my mind a little bit. I want to find some sort of middle ground.
Just about having conversation at the end of the day, Destin, and just understanding, it's okay. I'll never, I told you from the beginning, I listen to your content, I digest it. There's times that I agree with you, there's times that I don't, but at the end of the day, you're okay to have your own opinion just like I am. I'm just bringing forward the facts why I strongly believe that there is this thing called as an Xbox tax, and the fact that it's not everybody. So I'm not saying that you and your buddies are huddling up in the back making plans on a daily basis, but I believe that there are some that are benefiting from this in different ways. That kind of makes sense.
I think a good middle ground is what I think is actually being described is that people seem to think there is an implicit or an unknown bias towards Xbox that is happening, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
So, and I think that's the sentiment that is actually trying to be discussed. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Okay. You are correct. Okay. And again, it's hard. It's very hard to just talk about these things because it makes it seem like if you're generalizing, but it's not. It's not generalizing everyone under the umbrella. But there are select few outlets that, to me, are purposely engaging in whatever this is. I don't know what it is. I'm calling it the Xbox tax, but there's something here, and I'm the type of person that I just can't look the other way. I
hear you. And that's why I made the video why I didn't think it was there, because like I keep seeing this thing trending. I'm like, I've got to talk about this because I'm in a difficult spot where I'm on my back foot from the get-go because of where I work, right?
Gotcha, brother. And I respect you, and I respect you for this.
Yeah. No. And I respect you for calling in. I want to take one from Nibs, have been waiting the whole time. Right. And Gids is in there too. I appreciate the hell out of you for calling. I appreciate chat for hanging out and having this conversation, actually. And look, I don't mind if people point out things that I'm getting wrong or highlight things that I'm not seeing, because if we don't have conversations like this, nothing changes, right?
I agree.
So, yeah, people are saying I'm being dismissive. Did you feel like I was being dismissive? I hope not.
No, not at all, brother.
Okay.
So I appreciate it, man. Hey, good chat, bro. I'm going to get my day going. Thanks again for doing this, man.
Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Bye. All right, let's bring in Nib. Nib, I think, is a little more in agreement with me. Let's see what he has to say. Whoops, I did this wrong. Oop. Nib, you there? Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing? You okay?
Good. I saw your post. So Nib put out a post talking about the average scores from IGN.
The last, the last 20 Xbox
Yeah.
first party releases and the last 20 PlayStation first party releases. Because I think, like, with these conversations, right, I think people need to understand our own inherent preferences or biases or whatever you want to call it.
That's a big part of the that's a big part of the conversation, right? They're saying, well, we think there's this large internal unconscious bias against Xbox.
Sure.
And you're also pointing out, well, hey, Destin, you have that in you, and so does everybody else on planet Earth, right?
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, because when I hear, I constantly see this, and PlayStation fanboys will say they're on the opposite side of the spectrum. They think, critics are too harsh on PlayStation exclusives, whereas the Xbox fandom believes the opposite, right? And that's why I think, remember, our algorithms are shaped by our preferences. So if you are deeply ingrained in the Xbox ecosystem and you follow, the typical, Xbox fans and things like that, the ones who are a little bit more heightened in their enthusiasm, let's put it that way, you are probably going to see more of that type of content. So you're going to see people put on blast any type of negativity. So the perception will be different from the reality. And that's why I always say, with these kind of conversations, rather than basing opinion on perception or emotion or feeling or your own preferences, let's go by evidence data, right? Which is factual, statistical, and cannot be argued,
And to your point, I think that's where my brain goes, because when I look at the 10 out of 10 game of the year, Forza Horizon 5, and I look at the positive review for Forza Motorsport and the Metacritic average for Starfield, which is sitting in the 80s, like those seem good things to me, right? And that's what I see.
Going by the last 20 releases, and everyone can look at my tweet, and if you can find any flaw in it, let me know, right? So I was conscious to make sure it was everything about it in terms of numbers and mathematics and everything add up. But you can actually see that on average, IGN actually rate Xbox games less critically than PlayStation titles versus the meta average over those 20 games. And I remember someone mentioned Metro. There was a quote from a Hi-Fi Rush review.
Yeah,
it was a silly.
I read the article,
quote,
which is glowing for Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
that phrasing of that one sentence was poor.
Exactly. So then I thought, let me have a look at Metro as well, right? So I looked at Metro and analyzed their last, batch of reviews for Xbox and PlayStation. And guess what? Again, I think PlayStation first-party reviews on average for Metro over the last 10 or 20 releases or something was 14 points below the meta average, and I believe for Xbox it was 9 points below the average. So actually, statistically, again, they also reviewed Xbox games a little bit more favorably versus the Metacritic average. Then so that one off the cuff phrase in the High Fush review was not indicative of the wider review sampling and analysis, right? So
they gave it a 4. They gave it a 4 out of 5. And reading the article, I can't speak for other people, but I think the point he's trying to make is, hey, this is a game of the year quality game. We don't have a lot of comparables because Hi-Fi Rush came out after a large drought in the Xbox release calendar. And he's like, this is really special. I wish we had more special games like this on the Xbox brand. But I also understand how terribly phrased that sentence was and why people keep pointing to it. Right. But if you actually, but the thing is, people point out these things and then I go read the things and I'm like, this is super positive about Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. And this is the thing, like even with IGN, I know people have been saying, oh, I see constant negativity, but just literally just Google now. I mean, just if you just Google sort of negative PlayStation articles from IGN, immediately within the first few seconds of searching, you've got one article. Sony's Horizon Forbidden West PS5 upgrade strategy sucks, right? And they talk about, the promise by Jim Ryan and how they kind of reneged on that. And then another one, Last of Us crunch culture. They talk about that from IGN. There's another article, why indie publishers are fed up with PlayStation. There's another article, Sony fined
that was frustrating.
Exactly. Sony fined 3.5 million for misleading consumers. So there's a constant deluge of articles that are negative about PlayStation as well. I think one of the things might be that
people are talking about how that's over a year ago, but the stuff that they're sending me as evidence of an Xbox tax is from 9 years ago.
Exactly. So this is going on to my next point. I think what it is
Nib, did I lose you? I think I lost Nib.
Sorry.
Everybody. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're back.
Yeah. So I was going to say this moves on to the next point. I think one of the things is because of the way the situation with Xbox is, let's just say, cadence of releases and quality of releases the last 2 decades, there's a kind of heightened feeling of victimhood or whatever, or maybe not the media not giving Xbox a fair shake. And what ends up happening is there's more exposure and coverage and extra highlighting of the negativity towards Xbox. So there is negativity for Nintendo and for PlayStation, as we've gone over, right? We've gone over the IGN articles, and that's just a tiny smattering of countless negative articles about PlayStation from IGN. But I think those negative articles are just not getting the same exposure that the Xbox fandom is putting on the negative articles towards Xbox, and that is skewing the perception of things.
And Sony getting Super 7.9 billion was covered widely by the industry. So any narrative that wasn't covered that's just not true.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching sort of the Beyond podcasts and stuff. And even with like the PlayStation Portal recently, there was a lot of sentiment like, who is this for? Is this a kind of, what's the actual value or to this? And now the review came out, and the person who reviewed it, they were like, this product won me over. I thought it was going to be a waste of time, but actually it has utility. And I know a lot of the sort of Xbox fandom, they're looking at that review like, oh my God, like this must be biased. But you have to understand, even the PlayStation Portal it's a niche product. Everyone knows that. But within its niche, it does have utility for people, even like me. Like you can hear my son in the background. Mm-hmm. He's got the TV on now. He's watching bloody Land Before Time. And in this sort of situation, I don't have a second PS5. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take the TV from him, so I would just turn on the Portal. So I understand it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone's cup of tea, but within its confine of niche, it also has utility. The alternative is I could use like a backbone or something like that, but it's not an all-in-one convenient device.
Yeah.
So I think again, it's just this perception thing. Like, look at the reviewer's review, read the reviews, read the actual literature that's in the reviews, look at the points. Don't just take one line out of context. Read the whole Hi-Fi Rush review.
That's what I do usually. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I would just say, instead of going, the two things I guess I'd end with is, instead of going by a deluge of content snippets that can seem like heightened negativity because of your algorithm and because of your echo chamber or circle that you follow, go by, if you can, actual statistical data. So maybe look at all the articles that have been put out over, like a 2-month period, and calculate the percentage of them that have been negative for this platform, negative for that platform, etc. And also the context of those articles. Because I think with some of the things people have issues with PlayStation with of late is sort of nickel and diming and too many products and this and that. Whereas on the Xbox side, it's the same
release cadence.
question that
Release cadence and quality. That's the Xbox side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said earlier, like, Xbox do release very good games. I loved Hi-Fi Rush. I gave it a 9 out of 10. But I think the thing is, people are still waiting for that kind of the game of the generation,
They
the
want
game
their
of
God
the
of
year.
War. They want their
Exactly.
I don't know
and
what
I think a lot
Spider-Man
of
2, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, the aspirations were for Starfield to be that game, and maybe because the reception wasn't as people maybe anticipated or expected, this has brought up this whole Xbox tax conversation again. But then again, I would say if you look at sort of Steam reviews, which are purchase confirmed, I think Starfield is sitting on a 7 out of 10. If you look at Xbox Store, which are again purchase confirmed, I think is sitting at a 3.4 out of 5, which falls below 7. So it's not like even when you have reception, user-based reception that isn't cannot be review bombed, it's purchase confirmed. Even you can see there the reception has not been, to the level of maybe certain past tentpole Bethesda IP. So it's not just this conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
Even users are sharing these opinions, even though within people's echo chambers it may not seem like that. You've got to look at the wider picture.
I gotcha. Nib, you're agreeing with me. People want to see me in the hot seat, but I really appreciate you calling in. They are giving you a hard time for liking the Portal, though.
Yeah. I
So-
know. It's a weird product, isn't it? It's a niche, but I think with that, the only thing I can think of is PlayStation released their own branded backbone, right? So they probably have some empirical data about how much interest there is in using the backbone or remote play in general. So I assume they looked at the numbers and thought, what we can boost engagement, maybe make an additional revenue stream from this additive accessory. So they went with it, but it's not for everyone. It's just a niche accessory, you buy it or you don't.
Good point. Thank you, Nib. I appreciate you.
Cheers.
I'm going to try to take another call. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. I see you. You want to see me in the hot seat. So I have a few names. I have a million, Abdul, Chaos Prime. I think he's a member. Fried Melon, Gids, and Subby Wubby. Let me know who you want to take. I'm going to see if this is Chaos Prime from memberships or Chaos. You there? Well, he's deafened. Oh, he's there. Chaos, you there?
Hello.
Hey, are you a member?
I am not.
Oh, well, good to see you anyway. Boop.
How are you doing?
Doing okay. I've made better videos, but
yeah, I mean, I remember when I made my Game Pass video, the backlash I got from that was pretty good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the whole Xbox tax thing? Hopefully, you're putting me in the hot seat. They don't want to see people agreeing with me.
Honestly, I think it's the scrutiny. It's the scrutiny that Xbox games get over, say, what Nintendo or PlayStation games get. Maybe that comes from the track record of PlayStation and Sony delivering just consistency. But when it comes to Xbox games, I'm seeing a hell of a lot more scrutiny that is applied to those games than any other platforms games. Also, when it comes to publications like the Metro, PC Gamer, the amount of hatred that they had towards Starfield was resonating. It was almost like every 2 hours, PC Gamer was posting something different that was just constantly bashing. And I think this all, honestly, I think it was Starfield that actually did break, as they say, the camel's back.
Yeah. Because the people who love Starfield really love Starfield. Like Paul Tassi, I mean, Paul's a friend, so I see his posts. I see a lot of the positive posts online. I think Alana really likes Starfield. She does a lot of Starfield content. But the people who thought it was middling or whatever were sort of heavily criticized by fans, I believe. And later, I think people would sort of come around on those stances. But then there were articles like the ones you were mentioning that people were just like, what are you talking about? Like they seemed strange.
They seemed far out, right?
They seemed strange. Yeah.
And it's just the scrutiny. I mean, I don't see any other platforms games getting scrutinized in the same way as an Xbox game does, and that stands out when you're reading a review or you're just reading a byline. And when it comes to uh, certain publications, they make that byline as negative as possible when it comes to an Xbox franchise, but when it comes to a Nintendo line or a PlayStation line, it's got a lot of damage control in there to not make it sound as impactful as it is. And I think that I think that's what's resonating around that, in terms of like there being this whole global, Illuminati against Xbox.
Mhm.
I think that kind of stems a little way back to Microsoft as a whole, because a lot of places just don't like Microsoft. It's $1 trillion company. It's trying to do a lot of things, and as Major Nelson said in his 2018 clip that's been circulating, there's a lot of stigma there coming from Microsoft. And when Xbox entered the market, there was a lot of people that didn't want them there. But Microsoft, I think, has done a good job. I mean, 2022 was pretty much a disastrous year. I think we can all agree on that. I think they went for like a year or two with like almost nothing there. But in 2023, where they've actually done quite a bit of positive, quite a lot of good work, and they are still getting beaten down. I think it was PC Gamer who said Microsoft's first Call of Duty release is a disaster. I mean, according to PC Gamer, in 23 days, they pre-concepted, scripted, developed, mocapped, QA'd, went gold, went production in 23 days. The way they phrase that byline is what incites people's frustrations.
Which one was that?
I think it was a PC Gamer that done that. I can't remember.
What was the headline?
That Microsoft's first Call of Duty is a disaster.
Oh, I mean,
it's just the addition of the word Microsoft is like it's like it's a Microsoft built that from scratch. I mean, the game was done. Of course, they didn't. Mm-hmm. The game was built before. It was the merger even completed. It was ready to go out.
I didn't see that headline, but I get where the author's coming from, and I get why that would make the community mad at the same time, because on the one hand, it's accurate, right? It is Microsoft's first Call of Duty, and it's a stinker. And that sucks. But I think Xbox is doing its best with it. Like, they're promoting it. They're talking, Activision's making posts about how well it's doing in terms of player metrics. But I understand both perspectives here.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's selling through the roof, right? It's
that's the crazy thing. All of this, like everybody fighting about Call of Duty and Xbox and Xbox tax and everything. Meanwhile, Microsoft just probably made a ton of revenue.
I mean, it's number one on all platforms. But ultimately, I just think it's the scrutiny. I feel like, and I think that's where people kind of get this Xbox tax from. I think like it's how an extra pair of a microscope or something is applied when it comes to certain reviewers looking at an Xbox game just to see if they can find something there. And in my stream the other day, yesterday, I made the joke where if this was a PlayStation game, it would have been fine. But if it was an Xbox game, they would probably go halfway across the map, try to go out of bounds to find that rock that's got a low texture just so they can give it a lower score. And that's the perception that is currently out there.
That's
the
perception, but my argument is I don't know that that's happening, right?
Oh, I get that, but that's the perception.
That's the part that I got the glasses on or something, and I don't see it the same way, right? Destin doesn't believe there's a media bias toward Xbox, and reviews have been less favorable. And like chat's saying, like, I've become a clown in 24 hours and that I need to stop the stream because it's going to kill my channel.
No.
So I just want to address that really quick. I'm not against having difficult conversations or having disagreements or whatever. The only thing I can promise you is that I'm going to be as authentic as I possibly can be and honest about my feelings when these topics come up. That's why I did a live stream, because it's a contentious topic. There's people that we've had on the stream too, Nib and another, that sort of agree where I'm coming from, where they don't see the same thing that y'all are seeing. And there's a few people who point out, well, what about all these things? And they've asked tough questions, right? And I think, like you right now, Chaos, you're calling in and you're bringing up points about what you see. I want to keep having the conversation and talk about it. And it's as simple as that. So, yeah.
And I think you've got every right to have your opinion. Like I said yesterday in my stream, you're entitled to your opinion just like everyone else is. At the end of the day, you know, that's what we have these platforms for, to put our views across and have these discussions.
Yeah.
So I think
one
that's
thing,
fine.
Well, you seem to be in the know about the Xbox news. I saw the UK stuff just real quick about how like they're not doing great in the UK. And literally before this happened, I made a post that I said, if you think Xbox is in trouble, you're insane. They just acquired Activision Blizzard. They are set up to have their best year ever in 2024. Like, I don't, like, we're having this conversation about Xbox tax today. In 2025, I think this will be dead. I don't think there's going to be any thought of an Xbox tax. I think that's insane. And I think this is a conversation of the moment, and I think it's going to drastically change in the years to come. I've seen how Xbox has set the playing pieces on the board, and they are like set up for success right now. And that's what I see.
See, I think Microsoft has a big problem right now, a really, really big problem in the industry.
Okay,
in the fact
I want to hear this.
They're focused on Game Pass right now. Game Pass is the actual ecosystem. That is the platform. If I wanted to play Xbox today, I don't need to own an Xbox. So that 52% reduction in console sales could be seen as a way where people are now looking at Xbox games on other platforms as PC, as cloud, mobile, or
that was the goal.
Any other platform. But the problem there is, if I'm just looking to play first-party games, I don't need to buy an Xbox. Now, if I don't need to buy an Xbox, for the Xbox consumer, those that actually enjoy playing on their Xbox, that market shrinks. Now, as a publisher, let's say I'm just going to use Capcom as an example. If I look at the market and I look at PC, and let's just say that's 1 billion units out there, that's potentially customers. I look at PlayStation, that's 50 million. I look at Nintendo, they've got 140 million Switches out there now. And then I look at Xbox, and I'm just going to give a hypothetical number because I don't know the actual number. I think it's like 20, 30 million units or 20 million units in terms of console sales. That's a really small market. Then I have to really consider, as a publisher, is it worth me releasing on there? So this direction that Microsoft is going is a double-edged sword. Sure, software-wise, they're absolutely killing it because they're doing it from every market. They're getting the Sony money, they're getting the PC money, they're getting the cloud money, they're getting the console money. But as a publisher, when it comes to actually releasing games on your platform, it's a double-edged sword because the more that market shrinks, the less incentive I have in releasing my games on your platform, unless it's going straight to Game Pass day one. And that's going to cost, obviously, Microsoft a lot of money to do that. But at that point, you're kind of paying for that, that service. It's not even where the publisher is saying, yeah, I want to release it on there because I know it's going to sell well. When you see games like Star Ocean Second, which could easily be ported over, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, which could easily be ported over, skipping Xbox, and you see a lot more of these games skipping because they don't believe there's a financial gain there. It's because of the actual shrinking console market for Xbox. And I think that is where their big problem lies right now.
I have another potential bad take, and Kevin in chat is actually talking about it and agreeing with me. And a lot of people have said this for a while. I think the console market is going to start shrinking. I don't think it's going to die. I'm not that hyperbolic, right? But I think consoles are going to become vastly less important than we currently see them. And I think the ecosystem, which Microsoft is years ahead of everybody on, is going to be the future. We're going to be pairing controllers to our televisions in 5-10 years, and consoles will be like a bonus for the people that still want them, right? That's what I imagine the future will be like. I think technology is going to catch up. PC is already ahead, right? And Xbox has seen the writing on the wall for years. Even in their internal documentation, they say mobile is the future. Like, I'm playing Division on my iPhone.
It's great, right?
It is pretty damn good. I posted the gameplay on IGN and I'm like, this is just Division. This is pretty good. And like, you can do that on your iPad and you can do that on all these platforms. Like, yeah, I think things are going to change. I think there'll still be Xbox brand. There'll still be PlayStation brand and everything, but it's going to change how they do business.
I think in the next 15, 20 years, I think we'll see consoles pretty much finished. I think what Microsoft has been doing right now is building that war chest for their cloud. You know, the whole ZeniMax, the whole Activision Blizzard King. I think, and the future acquisitions that they're looking to do is all to position themselves in a really good position when the transition does go to cloud. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, hey, we've got all these games. If you want to play them, this is where you got to be. And they've already started that transition from quite early on.
I totally got us off track, Chaos. I just want to rein it back in right. And recap what you said, though. Your thought is that Xbox is scrutinized more closely than PlayStation games are.
Correct. And I think that's what's the big issue here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you calling.
Thank you for having me.
It's one of those situations where I think we agree to disagree, but I'm glad you were able to come on, give your perspective, so the audience who's watching right now is like, yeah, he's speaking for me. That's what I was hoping for, you know?
No worries.
Thanks, Chaos.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Chaos was great. I really appreciate him calling in. I think I have time for one more. I have a bunch of family stuff to get to today, but this has been really fun. I don't normally do live shows because I don't like to be away from the family. Sicko says, although it's trivial, I can't fathom the hurt. For example, Alan Wake Metacritic score was absent for ages because most reviewers played on PlayStation, majority favors and rides of PlayStation. I think that's a code distribution issue, Sicko. Like maybe I can't close the super chat now. Maybe the code distribution was PlayStation first. I think I was sent an Alan Wake code on Epic Games Store. So like for me, I recently played, this is sort of a weird comparison, right? I recently played Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Epic Game Store because I have an account there where you just get codes and I happen to have that one. And it's just cumbersome, right? Because you get set up in your ecosystems, and with a larger install base and more consoles shipped and more codes distributed because of those matters, I do think that does set up PlayStation to get more reviews first, just because of the reality of how many consoles Xbox has sold through. So that's sort of that's a thing I'd give you. Justin says, hey, Destin, awesome stream. We need more healthy discussions when a big topic like this comes along. I think it is a big topic. And like, I don't know how many people are watching. Some people think I'm finished. Some people seem to really like this. It's a good conversation. I'm going to do one more call. Yeah, I'll post the Discord. You can join. And if I ever get a chance to do one of these again, like I did one like 6 months ago or a year ago or something, 700 people. Wow. That's great. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so give me a thumbs down if Destin is finished, or give me a thumbs up if you think I'm good, or if you're a little wishy-washy on me, maybe just do like the wings emoji. I don't know what emojis we have access to. Do we have thumbs emojis? Okay. Yeah. At all. If you're not sure, that's like the hang loose. Uh-oh. I'm getting some Okay, I'm getting positives. All right, good. Thank you. Whew. Oh, boss. Thumbs up and thumbs down. I don't know what to think. And now I just log myself out. Okay, all right. For the most part, people seem to like it. I'm going to take one more call. Will you guys let me know if my career's over or if we're going to be good, if we're going to ride out this storm together? Kevin, I'm sorry I let you down, Kevin. That sucks. Iconic. I think we're cool. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little difficult because like I said, from the get-go, from the second, I know I'm on the back foot because as Darren says, I'm compromised from the get-go because I work at IGN, right? So immediately everybody has that ammunition against me. They're like, you work at IGN, you're done. And that's unfortunate because I want to have honest, frank conversation with people, even if I disagree with them. Well, I liked all the thumbs up. Can we get like 4 more thumbs up so that my confidence can keep going? And then I'll take one more call and call it a day. But yeah, let me do one more call here really quick. Gids has been waiting the whole time. Gids, how's it going? I said I was going to take your call earlier and then lost track of time. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, is it Denzel? Who's on their thing?
I wish.
Oh, who is it? Is it you?
This is good. Yeah, it's me. It's me. I promise.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Like super time.
First of all, I want to say, we all love you. Like, you'll never be done. There's a reason that we're on this call. It's because we care and we love you guys and all the good stuff. So, don't say that you're ever done. What I will say, as an Xbox guy, it is very annoying going into the comments, going on IG and going on Twitter and seeing all the negative things being said about Xbox when obviously, like you said before, Xbox is on trajectory going up.
Yeah.
But it does feel like there is an unconscious bias possibly by some of the media members. I mean, even looking at just the past week on the Instagram, you'll see they're promoting, the PlayStation, the store, the discounts for Black Friday, but they didn't post anything about, Xbox's store and all their deals for Black Friday and as well as Nintendo's as well. So that's why we kind of get, the idea that maybe you guys are being paid by Sony to post this stuff because it's so much Sony stuff.
But like
it's like, dang. Go ahead.
That's not accurate, right?
Oh, I mean, it may not be, but that's just how it feels.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know, you know what I'm saying? But for us on the outside looking in, it's like, dang, like Xbox got some good deals this weekend too. What's up?
I think, what should I disclose? Sony paid for my Uber to go to the Spider-Man preview event, and I liked Spider-Man. And I did the preview for Spider-Man. Like, I don't know. Do you find that problematic?
No, I mean, Spider-Man was dope.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's not problematic at all.
Yeah.
Nah. And I'm not like super, PlayStation has great exclusives, like, and Xbox has been missing some for years. And no, I'm not naive to know that Xbox has been down for a little bit, but
it hurts to see the negativity and you feel like it's often.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and I think as gaming community, we're all very toxic. And it's annoying. I mean, even looking in your chat right now, like, people are toxic.
It's all over.
Yeah, it's all over. But like, at the end of the day, like, that's why we feel the way we feel. We feel like there is a bias towards Xbox. And even like the go ahead.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, it's cool. It's cool. And like you mentioned before with the lawsuit with Sony and PlayStation and all that stuff. When Microsoft was going through their lawsuit, it was a post every single day. It felt like it was like every day it was something, and like, no one ever reads the articles, and I feel like y'all know that. Mm-hmm. So when you post a headline that's something negative, and no one's gonna go into the article. I mean, I'm on Instagram. You should scroll. I'm on Instagram to read articles. To be honest, right? So the headlines thing is a big thing too. Like, the headlines got to be a little more neutral and less negative towards Xbox. Is how it feels.
Well, I mean, that just, I don't know what to say, man. That sucks. Like, I don't want you to go and just see nothing but negativity towards Xbox. I'm critical when I feel like I need to be, but I mean, I started this channel like that first video I made exploded. It was like, how Phil Spencer saved Xbox or something like that. Right. And basically, I did miss some super chats. I don't know how to go back and read super chats. Sorry, chat. I got to figure that out. And basically, like, I just wanted to talk about, like, because I see it. I see what the community sees, right? All this cool stuff that they're doing. And I just wanted an outlet to talk about it. And I talk about it on IGN's Unlocked. I talk about it when I do performance reviews about cool Xbox games when I was doing that. Largely, I think I did. I don't know if the first performance review I did was with Gears 5 and how the technology utilized in Gears 5 proved like how crazy good the Xbox Series X was. So I found that interesting. But yeah, man, I hope more positivity comes because I can imagine how that, like, I can agree that would suck. I get a lot of negativity on my Twitter, and when it's bad, like it has been this week, it doesn't feel super good, you know? So if you're like just going out there looking for something cool about Xbox and you go into an article and you're like, hey, this is a good Xbox article, and then it's negative, that stinks.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I mean, there's always gonna be some negativity. Like no company's perfect. But I wish it wasn't as biased towards Xbox. And even like the review bombing and stuff, you know, the dude said earlier that you have to buy a game in order to review bomb on Xbox. But that's not the case. If you go onto all the Game Pass games, you'll see a ton of 1-stars with like foolishness written on it, and it like lowers the rating for Xbox. If you go on there and look, it's like absolutely ridiculous the type of review bombing that's on Xbox right now. So it's frustrating, but I mean the future is bright for Xbox. So I suggest we all just stay out of the comments and stay away from the negativity.
Leave positive comments.
Yeah, leave positive stuff. Like people online, like they're not real. Like it's not real life. Like you said earlier, like, you know, all this negativity is on Xbox right now, but the numbers are up. Like the future is bright. So let's all stay positive, you know, as a community in the gaming community, and, you know, look forward to good games on all consoles.
I really hope that this is like done next year. I hope Xbox comes out next year and it's such a crazy good year that like this Xbox tax notion is just destroyed. And that would be my hope.
And I hate that phrase, Xbox tax.
I think it's an awkward bias, an Xbox bias. That might have been a different video, right? But a tax is being used as this all-encompassing term for everything from criticism, from valid criticism, to sort of what you're describing, just often seeing negativity, like even in the comments and stuff about a positive Xbox post, right? Or the thing I was talking about earlier with the other viewer. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. And I'm sorry, I thought it was the icon was small. I thought it was a training day.
Oh no! It is. It is for sure. But I'm not Denzel. I wish. But, you know, that is Denzel.
No, I didn't think you were. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you calling in.
No problem.
Talk to you soon. Bye. I'm going to do one more chat. I think this has been nice. I really appreciate everybody hanging out, talking. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I feel like I have a better understanding of where people are coming from with the Xbox tax thing. I'm still a little like not super agreeing with it, but I'm not the type of person that just goes with the flow. I just can't do that, right? And I appreciate the discourse. Every caller who called in was respectful. Nobody was like weird. Everybody was great. And while I still don't agree, I really do appreciate everybody calling in. I'm going to take a second and I'm going to see if I can figure out how to read the super chats. I don't know how to do that, so I apologize. if that takes me a second, okay? Just give me 1 second. I can be weird if you want, Multi says. Get King online. King is not called in. If King had called in, then yeah, supers. See all. Let me just make sure there's nothing. Okay, yeah, here we go. So I found them all. Can I pop this out? Here's all of them. So let's just read all the super chats again on this one screen. Okay, I got to be really careful here. Let me just look, make sure like my tax information isn't on here or something. Okay, here we go. Boom. Rambling says, now let's talk about the real tax, the PC tax. Thank you for the donation. The average says, honestly, Destin, you're the most reputable person from IGN. Your takes are grounded, and I tune in often to hear what you think. Well, thank you, Average. I appreciate you just watching the channel, honestly. Scoop says, oh, I'm 1,000. All right, Scoop, I'll bring you in. You'll be the last caller. Alex says, do you have video lined up for the big PlayStation lawsuit over store pricing and practices? I made that video when it was first brought up, and I do want to talk about it. Maybe I'll do that for tomorrow. Destin, awesome stream. We need more healthy discussions when a big topic like this comes along. I'm very glad people enjoyed it. Although it's trivial, I can fathom the butthurt. For example, Alan Wake 2's Metacritic Xbox score. I discussed that one on stream. Simon says, Metro run a headline. Starfield fans look away now when reporting Game Awards nominees. I can't talk for Metro. Explain that one, Destin. Your integrity doesn't apply to all. So I think he's saying I have integrity, but he's saying Metro does not. I don't like the headline. I don't think it's funny. I agree it's a bad headline. That's about my take on it. It's all perception. Media and gamers will talk about Starfield at 83 like it's a 73. Well, Ghost of Tsushima at 83 gets talked about like it's a 93. Huh. I don't know, man. Like Nintendo, the people who like Starfield talk about it like it's 110. And the people who think it's middling, they're just kind of like, eh. And the people who hate it really hate it. I don't even listen to the people who hate it. Destin, you're coming across as dismissive. Chat, did I come across dismissive? I saw that one and I was like, and I asked the caller at the time, I'm like, did I come off dismissive? I hope I didn't. Like, I'm just trying to listen and have a conversation. I hope I didn't come off dismissive. Oh, you think he's talking about the media at the beginning? Yes, no. Got time for another call? I was going to take 1 million. I got to read all these super chats. I'll go a little faster. Sorry. Xbox tax Surface is ugly face during Xbox One. Oh, it started during Xbox One. I mean, yeah, Xbox One had a lot of criticisms, myself included. IGN did the 3 red lights. Like I said, sometimes there's bad posts, man. I don't know what that one was about. I didn't think it was funny. I think it was deleted. Not grand conspiracy. Its underlying pattern to equate every release with ecosystems, then judge on own merits. First paragraph of Polygon's article. So Polygon compared to a ecosystem. I mean, that's sort of what Xbox wanted. I'm not really sure, but I appreciate that, Mesco. McCaffrey, burn, Xbox. Oh, okay. So they're talking about the Ryan McCaffrey tweet from 9 years ago, where he didn't like the idea of Tomb Raider being console exclusive. And then 9 years later, he said Final Fantasy is a good get for PlayStation. I think he just changed his opinion over 9 years. I would have to ask him. But at the time, I think Xbox had like nothing. And they could have fought for that one. And I think that was the topic that was being discussed, but I can't, it's really hard. Like, I shouldn't be talking for my coworkers. If they want to talk about it, they'll talk for themselves, but it's sort of being brought up in the stream because of my Destin is the devil in AEW, like wrestling. Okay. I mean, y'all got to take that up with Ryan. I don't know what to tell you. I can't speak for Ryan, you know, and I don't want to like tell you what other people are thinking because I don't know. You got to ask them. I can just tell you how I feel and how shitty I felt with this thumbnail and why I never made a thumbnail like that again. And why I stopped talking about Xbox for like a year after the bombardment that I got after that. I got real quiet for a while because I'm like, wow, this community hates me. And then I snapped out of it and I started doing this and turns out I was wrong. And yeah, but anyway. I agree with Rand's take. The tax feels real because outlets seem to use PlayStation as the default platform. So when it's time for award nomination, Xbox games are passed because there is no awareness. Nerds and Other Legends said that there is a bit of truth in the fact that PlayStation 5 has sold way more consoles than Xbox has, right? That thumbnail was great. Don't apologize for it. Well, I mean, I wouldn't make it again, but yeah. Yeah, so like there's more PlayStation 5s in the wild. So more codes get distributed for PlayStation 5, but that means Xbox needs to figure out how to close that gap. And I think that's what they've been working on. Anyway, you should invite Boomer King. Greetings from Japan, I think. Oh, thanks. Hey, thanks, Lau. Well, he said PlayStation sucks. See, I actually don't think PlayStation sucks. I think PlayStation has amazing developers. I am very concerned about the people leaving Housemarque and the firings at Bungie and everything that I've been reading about PlayStation lately. But yeah. Remember when media lost it for gold going up in price, which led to Xbox backtracking, but basically Handwave Plus? Didn't they delete Xbox Live Gold? I don't remember. I don't know what this is referring to, but thank you, Flirt. Majority of sites report Xbox in negative light. He's left a few super chats. I would say if you're looking for negativity, you're going to find it. And if you look for positivity, you're going to find it. Taxes are not synonymous with penalty. Metro UK article. How do you call in? Just spam it on there. There's not some grand conspiracy. KW talked about that and how it's sort of like feels like gaslighting. That's not, unfortunately, that's not like really what I was going for. There's no Xbox tax. Fanboys are just playing victim because Starfield was boring and not new Skyrim. Now they're harassing journalists. I don't know that they're harassing journalists. I don't have any evidence to that, but I know my mentions have not been pleasant the last 2 days. See, there's a little bit of a difference. I put myself out there and I say stuff that and I'm honest about how I feel about things. Do I expect people to not say anything about that? No. Of course people are going to say stuff about that. MBG is watching. Hey, MBG, good to see you. Mescalito. There's incentivization to cater to negativity. Sony is such a, you wade into the waters, but can't specifically address public statements of coworkers, dude. I can't. You can ask me about Metro or somebody, but do you know how awkward that would be if I spoke on somebody else's behalf at the water cooler? Like, it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. Anyway. Read 3-bits explanation on X. I'll have to read it. We read that one on chat. Oh, geez. How many super chats did I get? Thank you, everybody. Rather, I agree or not, shout out for doing this. Thanks, Pixel. Where's accountability? Why don't get called out? I talked about that one. PlayStation sold more consoles. It gets favorable reviews. We talked about Scoop's comment. Scoop is 1 million, by the way, so I'll bring Scoop in really quick. Jez said Xbox will be at Game Awards. I hope it's Gear 6. That'll be exciting. Or the new console. It could be the new console. On X, I said we as individual gamers, the media favors PlayStation, and you'll gaslight us saying we believe it's a grand organized conspiracy. Nailed it, spot on. Still support you though. Yeah, I really wasn't trying to gaslight, but that's when you start talking about the Xbox tax and how the media is against Xbox and stuff like that. That's what's conveyed And that's why I kept going on the stream, because I'm like, okay, let's pretend for a second that people aren't just being crazy, right? Let's have a conversation about it. And that's why I did the stream. And I think we got to a better place than when it started at the end. More of these super chats than I realized. Destin, I'm a PC gamer and a bot, but before that, I'm a gamer. Don't apologize for having a life outside of work. Of course not. Thank you, Mark. Kids we talked to. As a guy who loves Xbox, I think I'm just tired of the constant hate from the gaming community. And he talked about like the chat right now and the comments, and we brought him on. Dark Winter said Xbox gets criticism for Redfall as proof of that. Nation says, is Xbox tax the same as Nintendo tax? Yeah. Not listing a platform is an unconscious bias. No, it's just an editing mistake. It's just an editing mistake. Here's the Discord link again, 9 lives. It was a dumb editing mistake that was apologized for and corrected. Love how you going into each thing and just waving it off. Like, at what point does it stop being coincidence? Please show the same pattern for PlayStation. I don't know what to say, but thank you for the super chat. I don't feel like I'm just waving it off. I'm trying to explain why I don't see it the same way. I think the COD tax is silly. However, I do think that there are many cases of media members showing bias. By the way, sorry for the loss. Yeah, the loss was hard. People saying Xbox tax is Xbox's fault, which is true, is inadvertently admitting its existence. But if the Xbox tax is calling out that Ryan apologized on my behalf. What? Ryan hasn't been, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, if Ryan apologized on my behalf, I don't know what it was for. Oh, I lost the super chats. Oh boy. All right, here we go. Alex isn't in there, is he? One sec. Let me see if Alex is in there. Alex is not in there. A million. I was going to do a million. Let's do the million call quick, then I'll read the rest. I need a break from reading the super chats. You guys are too generous. Hey, Million. You there? MBG, you should call in. Even if it's, I can hear you. Even if it's fake MBG. Hey, you said you wanted to say something.
Oh yeah.
Hi, how are you? You okay?
I'm good.
All right. Good. Good.
And yeah, like I said, I'm still support you everything. We just have a big disagreement on this. So I want to be quick. I don't want to take a lot of time. So the main thing I was saying with the Xbox X is this. If the majority, and I believe it started with the Xbox One, when the majority of the media, when you fall out of favor with them, that's what it causes them to kind of be more critical on your product. I've been saying this for ages. It's like a good example. A media darling company is something like Rockstar. A Grand Theft Auto game could release extremely buggy. All of them are completely buggy, crazy games. But we love Rockstar. We love their games. So it's like completely overlooked in the media. Right now, Insomniac, they're media darling company right now. They're doing great. But guess what? Spider-Man 2 is extremely buggy. There's so many examples and people keep acting like it was outliers. I was in Europe for work. I didn't get a chance to play it at launch. I got home. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Yeah. I rushed in to play Spider-Man. I played through it in like 3 days. I've seen so many, but all types of crazy bugs. I was making recordings. There's this bug that keep coming up where Spider-Man and Miles become white blocks, and nothing else. It's like so many things, but guess what? It was overlooked because it's the media dollars. Of course, you could say, oh, maybe they didn't encounter any bugs, but the amount of bugs I see online and all the ones I encountered, I find that hard to believe. It's just like Starfield. A lot of Xbox fans don't want to admit to a lot of Starfield bugs, but it's a pretty buggy game that came out. It was decent compared to other other Bethesda games, but
I can only talk about my personal experience with Spider-Man. And what did IGN give Spider-Man?
I'm not sure. I don't even look
like
at
a 7 or
like
an 8, right?
Yeah, something like that. I believe so.
Did we give it I actually don't know. I have no idea what we gave it, but it was an 8. Yeah. So like, do you feel like that's in line with what you experienced, or do you feel like it was worse?
For me, I would give it an 8 because I think the third act, the game collapsed for personal reasons because I'm a comic fan.
I got to rewatch the review. I don't think I watched our review, but like, yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy. But another thing, somebody else pointed out that I don't know how you don't remember this, Dustin. You tripping right now. But when a little while ago, before they got rid of Xbox Live in general and made it all Game Pass, Microsoft put out a price increase on Xbox Live. Media and gamers alike eviscerated Microsoft for it, and they reeled it back in within days. They reverted back.
I do remember this. I do remember it, but they
raised their prices and people completely gloss over it. Media is not covering it like that. They just post the news, boom, it's there. That's it. There's no outrage.
I mean, like, I saw that as a victory for gamers and for Xbox, because Xbox was like, you know what, you're right. And didn't aren't they done with gold now? They like got rid of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. We agree. It was a victory for gamers, but the thing is, the treatment isn't equal. How many people to this day I see like saying, looking back, Rise Son of Rome did not get a fair shake.
It's because Rise Son of Rome was a great game, but it gets real boring, like starting with Act 3 forward, because the
negativity,
not boring. Boring is not the right word, because I really liked Rise. Repetitive. It's just repetitive in the back half. That's it. Yeah.
See, my whole thing is that it's not like a grand conspiracy like IGN is getting paid by Sony and they're all colluding, GameStop, everybody together, like, let's get Xbox. I just simply think there's more PlayStation-centric media out there, like, because it's a bigger platform right now, and they tend to favor their system. So when they're playing playing the games on their preferred platform, they're easier on it than when they're playing on Xbox. I can tell you right now, I play all platforms. I'm an extreme Nintendo fanboy and a little less extreme Xbox fanboy. And I can tell you now, there's no way I could play Tears of the Kingdom and then play, say, Spider-Man 2, for example, and be completely unbiased on how I go about reviewing those two games. It's literally impossible for me. And I know that. That's why I went and never tried to do it. But it seems like there's a lot of people in the media that can't put those biases aside, because it's a hard thing to do when they're going about reviewing Xbox or PlayStation games and stuff like that. And like, for example, for the Starfield review on IGN, I was fine with his review and his score. But when you see things like him on his spare time dressing up as Kratos, that puts a crazy image in people's head. Like, how could this person review the biggest Xbox game of the year? We was expecting you or Ryan to do it personally. Like, we was like, hey, they're going to do the biggest Xbox game of the year, but instead it's the guy that dresses up as Kratos on his spare time. That adds to the perception of the Xbox tax. But in general, I just think it's simply more PlayStation games out there. They favor the platform, and it's hard for people to get past their biases. It's just like politics or Apple versus Android and everything else, but it's people writing stories and reviews and stuff. So it's kind of hard to like split the two, in my opinion.
Well, I think the latter is closer to what you're saying, to what you're alluding to. Dan, I mean, I can tell you Dan is a huge Bethesda fan. And I think he did Fallout 4, and I'm pretty sure he did New Vegas. He did 3. Dan might have even did like the OG Fallout games. That's why he reviewed it. So the fact, it's like correlating him dressing up at Halloween as Kratos, a terrible Kratos, by the way. Like I love God of War, and I dressed up as Wolverine once, and Insomniac is making a Wolverine game. Do you think I would have received the same amount of criticism if I gave it a 7? I'm glad I didn't review it, because what if I didn't like it? Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I would have got the same treatment as Dan. What if I gave it a 7? And I'm not as good of a writer as Dan. So,
but like
when I saw the backlash...
Game, but
sorry, man. Go ahead.
I think it was just perception. It was just a bad look. It was just a bad look on that part.
Yeah, I mean, I get the public perception angle. Dan is a friend, and I know Dan, and I know how much he loves Bethesda. So it just like that one, and like his joke about language is showing a lot. And I'm like, it's just a joke about language. I don't know.
Another thing,
got the glasses on for Dan Stapleton. Sorry, I really like Dan.
Another thing I want to point out is like, trust me, it's not just Xbox. During the 360 era, when Xbox was that media darling and PS3 was on the ruts, I think there was kind of a PlayStation tax at that time too. I think there was people being way overcritical of PlayStation at the time as well. But the social media and everything else wasn't as big then, so it wasn't trending on Twitter, for example.
Yeah.
That is the PlayStation tax. I just think that's just how the shifts work. If Xbox starts knocking it out the park undeniably,
yeah,
and everything is going well, everything is going good, it may shift back to that. People might start
going to
looking at PlayStation. Like that's
I
what
I think the pendulum is swinging the other way. And y'all might not see it because the Game Awards are fresh on everybody's mind right now, and people feel like Starfield was snubbed or whatever's going on with the Game Awards. But I think the pendulum's swinging the other direction, and I think next year is going to be a very interesting year in terms of what PlayStation puts out, because they've put this strange bet on games as a service, which is very much not liked right now, and I am a little concerned about where PlayStation is going, to be totally frank.
Another, like,
we'll see.
And to address the Call of Duty thing,
yeah, the
thing is, most people that think there's an Xbox tax believe that if the Xbox Activision deal didn't close before this game was released,
people want me to say something. Sorry, man. People want me to comment on the gold price thing. I don't really know what to say. Okay, that happened. like what do you want me to say? What can I say about that situation that's going to make people feel like that happened? Yes. Xbox Live gold went up. It was universally panned by fans, authors, everybody didn't like the idea that it went up.
Yeah.
So Xbox canceled it, and they were praised for canceling it.
But the problem is the same dislike in the media and pushing
didn't happen for the recent PlayStation Plus increase, right?
Exactly. But
PlayStation Plus isn't double dipping. It's not a double dip, right?
I don't think that Xbox isn't either, because remember,
at the time.
If you decide to have Game Pass Ultimate, you have basically Xbox Live as well. So it wasn't like they were still trying to charge you for Game Pass Ultimate and Xbox Live. Xbox Live was its own separate individual thing.
Well, maybe people should have been harder on PlayStation for. I know I don't like any price increase when companies are posting record-breaking
very
profits.
consistent with that.
I'm
You're
very consistent.
with that.
I don't agree that price increases are good ever. Even the $70 price increase, I don't agree. So yeah, I don't know. Chat just felt like I didn't address the question well enough. So I'm like, okay, well, hold up. You brought something up. I didn't address it well enough. I don't, and that's sort of my take on it. Maybe we should be a little bit harder about price increases. I've had this video that I've been cooking on for a long time, and it's the title I'm leaning towards is "The Game Industry is Dying, and it's been a long time coming," or "The games industry as we know it is dying." We're going through a period of change in the game industry. There's no denying it. Games as a service, microtransactions in games, facilitating the need to actually make the games. There's a $60 horse in Diablo 4. It is not sustainable, and the whole thing is built on cards. And I think that Microsoft is... Sorry, one second. How am I gaslighting by saying maybe we should take a harder look at that? How is that gaslighting in any way, Omega Times? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, Alex, you can call in. You'll be my last call, Alex. I got to do the super chats too. And I got to get to the family. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, sorry, I kind of lost track there. But yeah, that's sort of my take on your topic.
Yeah, I want to say the last thing I want to say is like with the Call of Duty thing.
Yeah.
Call of Duty has generally been the same short campaign, multiplayer situation forever. It's been getting roughly 6s or 7s like forever. And I think this game falls into the same category. Even though the multiplayer, like most people are saying, the multiplayer is really good compared to other Call of Duty. There's absolutely no way Call of Duty Vanguard is better than Modern Warfare 3. It's objectively that's absolutely false.
Well, wait. The Metacritic's at a 6. What is Vanguard?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Metacritic has Modern Warfare 3 at a 6.
I do not think
Vanguard's like maybe what was Vanguard? I'll be honest with you, dude. I play Warzone maybe once a year, and I don't do anything with Call of Duty unless I have to for work. So, yeah.
I do not think that if that Activision deal didn't close prior, that game would have had the microscope over it as it did.
Yeah, a lot of people said that.
So many outlets, including IGN, scored that game Quantum Error higher than Call of Duty, and that it's
Didn't we give it a 4?
It's no way that's real. That's not reality at all.
when people, I mean, I'll just be frank with you. When people start getting into like review scores, comparing review scores, I'm always like, well, those are written by different people. It's a topic though that I see come up a lot. I don't really have the answer. People are saying I'm gaslighting again. Okay. I don't know how, but whatever. Anyway, when you bring up like a review and then another review and say, well, like this one was worse than this one, why does that happen? I actually don't have a really good answer for that. And I actually do think it's sort of a challenge that comes up often. And I think it's a challenge that's brought to the forefront because like if Destin, the YouTuber, had his reviews and had his opinions come out regularly and you always knew they were written by me and played by me, it would be consistent, right? The problem with the structure of a lot of the bigger websites though is there's like 250 employees at IGN, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people are on the review squad, but there's a lot. So yeah. I got to get Alex in here and I really got to get back to the family a million, but thank you for the tough questions. Did you feel like I was gaslighting you?
Not me. No, I don't think it was gaslighting me.
Right,
I just think that you when you say every time you talked about the Xbox stats, you kept on making it sound like everybody think it's this grand conspiracy when we just think it's just individual media personalities with their biases doing what they do.
And I think that's where I get really in my head about the whole title of Xbox tax, because it's not clearly defined. And having this live thing, I thought was the best way to have that conversation, because talking about it, I'm like, you're just talking about unconscious bias, really, right? You think there's an unconscious bias that's negative against Xbox,
some of it is conscious. Like some review is like, you just like, what? When some things that's written, you're just like, that's blatantly like they're going at this company or this brand. So it's weird.
All right. I got to bring Alex in here. Alex is going to be my last one. Sorry, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Million.
Thank you for the call.
I appreciate
the
it.
Cookies are awesome. And
they are awesome. The people who know. All right. Thanks.
All right. Justin, later.
Bye. All right, Alex. How you doing?
Oh, you're having a day, huh?
Couple days, yeah. I don't think the Xbox tax is. I didn't think the Xbox tax was a thing, and I made a video about it.
I'm going to react to it tonight. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, great. How you doing?
So not bad. I'm in the garage. If I sound weird or if I'm huffing and puffing, I'm just cleaning.
Okay.
So you got me in the middle of the day. So yeah, people were just telling me you wanted me to jump in. What's happening?
Chat
here?
wanted you to jump in. They're like, get Alex on there. He's gonna roast you, and I'm like, Alex is gonna roast me because. Do you think there's an Xbox tax? Let me just ask you straight up.
No, I don't. Okay. But I do have to say this. I think you are. I love you, Dustin. You're a great guy.
But I'm in a compromised position from the get-go.
You are the wrong person to talk about this.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that sentiment that you are. I don't think you're compromised. I think the issue is that.
I mean, that's the way I phrase it because I work at the company.
Yes.
Yeah. That a lot.
Yeah, and so I think you're fighting an uphill battle with this. I'll have to say this. I really think what's going on with Xbox directly is really just the last 10 years of them having a trash fire of a brand. In all honesty, like
chat wanted him on. He's on. Continue, Alex.
And so I think what's going on is not just that, but what's happening is Xbox has been facing the last 10 years of truly just having to fight back after Don Matrix's complete
disaster.
How vulgar can I get on here? I don't know how you
just try and keep it clean. I think we haven't sworn yet, so yeah. Just disaster.
Okay.
It was a disaster. And he was an idiot.
He basically almost sunk the brand, in my opinion.
No, that's true. Because Satya Nadella and Spencer have talked about it. He did almost sink the brand. They almost closed it.
I will never stop praising Phil Spencer for what he's done with that brand and how he's literally saved it completely. I mean, having a burning trash fire of a ship that is sinking at the same time, while Don Matrick diarrheas his way out on a golden parachute on top of you, really isn't a great spot to be in. And so Phil literally going in and setting Xbox up for the future, I think, is just a phenomenal setup. I think what's going on is, and what I think is happening in gaming media is they're farming engagement. I think many websites are just farming engagement, plain and simple. You don't have to comment on this if you don't want to. IGN has posted numerous times that Elder Scrolls 6 will not be on PS5. I'm talking about like day-to-day, back-to-back on Twitter multiple times. Metro UK has had one of the worst reviews for Hi-Fi Rush I've ever seen. But they're also a clown show.
Did you read the review? Did you actually read the Hi-Fi Rush review for Metro?
Yes, they said that they were not going to rate it higher because of Xbox's lack of games throughout that year.
So the rest of the review is positive. You would agree, right?
It is. Yes, I think the rest of the review is positive.
That one sentence, I think what they're saying, and I don't mean I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I think what they're saying is Hi-Fi Rush came out in a window when Xbox hadn't really had anything big for a while, right? And I think what they were trying to convey, which some people on Reset Era alluded to also, which kind of made me look at it from a different perspective. I think what they're trying to convey is, hey, we wish we had more great Xbox games like this one to talk about. But then
not that they're
throttling it back
directly that it would impact the score.
I don't think so. I would have to.
I think I saw something like that.
If
I have
that
to go
was
back and look at it.
said,
Again, in the garage.
yeah, if that was said, I would give it to you. But it's just that
Yeah.
one sentence, and reading it in the full context around like a tremendously positive piece. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
your
so
other points are valid.
it's-
I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry, Alex.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think this idea of the Xbox tax, like, is it because Starfield got snubbed? Is it because game outlets make incendiary headlines to clickbait and get engagement? Is it because like what are we really talking about here? It's not truly
That's it.
defined, and everything can be considered Xbox tax. So
That's the problem. And
what does that even mean?
Yeah, that's exactly my problem with it. The definition isn't clear. And talking today, people seem to say it's an unconscious bias against Xbox. Just a general
I think what
unconscious
happens
bias.
is
There's a few pieces of evidence that sort of lean into that. PlayStation 5.
I think
Go ahead.
I think individual people have an unconscious bias about a brand that they like. We've seen other colleagues of yours tweet really, very fanboyish things about about Xbox or the brand or what have you. And really, again, like, I think that is just like, I'm never running out of content, and it's wild to see that kind of behavior
on their individual accounts.
On an individual account, yeah.
Did they delete them?
I don't know if they did or not.
I bet they did.
Probably because they got quite a bit of flack.
So what happens is, and as somebody that went through this, you post something dumb, you delete it, it gets screenshot, and then for 6 months to 9 years, that will be brought
It's on
up
there,
again.
baby. Oh yeah, it's on there.
My resolution thumbnail it has been resurfaced again. It's from 9 or 10 years ago.
But at the same time, though, there wasn't anything
I also don't
factually
age,
incorrect.
so,
You don't age.
Yeah.
The Xbox One was a garbage fire. Absolute garbage fire.
It was bad.
It was underpowered compared to the PS4. It had Kinect attached to it. It had online DRM. It had all these horrible things that shouldn't be there in games. Even now, I don't think they should be there. But I've been critical of both brands, and I think my logic first is of the consumer. Excuse me. And I think what's going on is
you and I think are always about that. That's one thing I think we're deadlocked on, in agreement.
Yeah.
The consumer is what matters the most.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, when PlayStation raised their prices, I made a video. When Xbox raised the price of Game Pass by $2, I made a video screaming about $2. So it's I think what happens is that there are people who are emotionally invested, and many of these websites know this. And what they'll do is they will manipulate your emotions in order to garner clicks by making incendiary headlines. And so if you, I'm sorry to say this, Destin.
I don't know if I can get on board with that though.
Well, Gaming Bolt just made a headline today.
Like,
let me see here.
So do you think I know about that one's dumb.
Yeah.
That one I'm going to give you. There are.
It is absolutely wild. IGN has posted about Elder Scrolls 6 countless times.
The kind of content that I make, like I did Forza versus Gran Turismo 7, because part of it is I'm genuinely curious about how the two sim racing games compare in terms of the technology, right? I'm just sort of weird like that. But yeah, I'd be denying if I wasn't saying that I was curious how the PlayStation exclusive did against the Xbox exclusive. And having
what do you mean? I'm sorry, I missed that. I missed that beginning part.
I'm Gran Turismo 7 versus Forza. I made that video looking at them both, and I just find that stuff interesting. And then I dove in a deeper video on the technology and different settings and all that. So is that problematic in your mind, or are you talking more about the Starfield player engagement numbers being down?
I'm talking about the Starfield player engagement. That is a clearly incendiary.
That is laughable.
It literally is.
Yeah.
And I think people see that and they go, how could you not admit that there's an Xbox tax if this is the kind of stuff that's being written? And the problem is that people are engaging with those posts, right? And
people
so that's
right. I did compare Starfield to No Man's Sky when the
I think everybody did.
The launch trailer came out. Yeah, kind of.
But didn't everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest analogous thing you can compare it to. But then when you play the game, when you play Starfield, you're like, oh, this isn't No Man's Sky at all. It's basically Factorio, which really is a better analogy of what Starfield actually is.
Mhm.
But again, I think we're just missing the point. I think the issue is that if there was an Xbox tax, Forza Horizon 5 would not have gotten a 10 out of 10. Pendant would not have gotten a 10 out of, was it 10 or a 9?
There's a whole screenshot of 9s and 10s, at least from IGN that
Yeah.
I've seen. And
2021,
like the
Microsoft
Metacritic
was voted
yeah.
best publisher of the year.
Yeah.
Xbox has been on a massive come up. Are there people who make idiotic articles and posts like PC Gamer did about like,
Yes.
oh, this is a capitalism thing? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Like that is the most Rakanishu thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'll say that if you guys watch the content, you know what I mean. There are so many things that
there's a lot of
websites do to
dumb
create
stuff that's
engagement.
posted. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's what people fall for, and that's what they'll claim is an Xbox tax. But I think what the real issue is that when you're looking at reviews, like stop using Metacritic, stop using those websites. Find a reviewer that fits the kind of games that you like, and then you can understand that perspective, and you'll have a better understanding of what it is.
You know what
People like to
Asmongold?
use those scores.
You know what
I love
Asmongold? He says all the time,
Yeah.
go watch a streamer for an hour and see if it's a game
Basically,
for you.
that's I agree with him 100%.
Yeah. If you don't trust review scores, do that. Go watch the
Yeah,
first
and-
15 on IGN or whatever, to be
And it's
biased.
funny to say, but I think the reason why people are angry about this and Metacritic scores is because they want to use this in their console wars against PlayStation fanboys. Ooh, no. Oh, I'm just going to say it how it is. The only reason Xbox fanboys care about the tax or care about Metacritic scores or care about review scores is not because they want the game to do well. It's because they want to use it as a talking point in their fanboy war about a plastic box that they're trying to attach themselves to.
Maybe.
And that's really what it is. Like, hate to burst the bubble, boys, but
chat wanted you on.
You know me. Listen. If you know me, you know my content. I'm just gonna say it how it is.
TDG says he's ashamed of me.
And who?
TDG says my channel's gonna tank and I'm a clown and that he's ashamed of me.
You mean so? How many subscribers does TGD have? Pull them up on screen.
I'd have to look. He has a circle with a T in it.
Yeah. To click his name. Click go to channel, and you can put his channel up on the live stream right now. We're going to see who has a dead channel.
Let me see here real quick. TDG. Oh, does this post go
I love this is my favorite thing. Oh, now it's gone?
Let me look. He has
y'all, is this the first time y'all see me? Because y'all
he has
y'all,
two
y'all
shorts
don't know
posted in 2020.
How many subs?
4.
Wow, dead channel, huh, Justin?
TDG, man.
Damn.
Alex, that's
listen, man. Listen. I'm really not the one to mess with, chat. I think chat knows. I think chat realizes. Oh shit.
Do you set the garage on fire?
No, my wife walked out. She's like, "Who the frick are you talking to?"
I really got to go though. Anyway, so.
It's all right. No, but
thought?
chat, look, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. I get naked on stream and chat humiliates me with text-to-speech donations.
And you're going to react to my dumb video.
And I will react to your video, and then I will cook you live.
You got me good on the FPS one.
You know why? Because you had a bad argument, and I was right.
Wait, at the end of the day, what was it?
Boom.
What were we disagreeing on?
Boom! That you said 30 FPS is fine. We know that's not true, Justin.
Come
fine,
on,
buddy. Come on, buddy.
Do you play Spider-Man?
Come on.
You're waiting for it on PC, right?
I'm waiting for it on PC.
Yeah. I mean, if I have
Dollar
the
Store
choice,
Total Biscuit. Well, hold on. I just got called Dollar Store Total Biscuit. If I could be
like
the
an
$1 version, if I could be the $1 version of TB, I would literally wear that badge of honor. Literally, that is the exact thing. Like I would parade that around as one of the greatest achievements I've ever had, to be the Dollar Store version of Total Biscuit. There's no greater person or man that I would rather be compared to, whose shoes I could never fucking fill. There you go.
Alex, thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Dustin. Have a great weekend, man.
Thank you, man.
Bye, bro.
Bye. All right, chat. There are so many super chats. just thank you. I think I'll just say thank you. I appreciate you sending them in. I appreciate you joining me for the stream today. This went way longer. This went like 3 hours. My wife's probably not going to be happy with me. She wanted to do a bunch of stuff today, and now I got the kids to watch. So I'm going to go be a dad for a bit. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having for this conversation. I do think we landed in a place where there's a bit of a better understanding on my part, and you probably still don't agree with me, but I think I get where things are coming from. Rambling, you want me to read your... It's very important from Rambling that I read his. Let me find it. Oh, God. I have so many tabs open. All right, we're going to do this. Rambling. Bringing the stream to a halt. Did I miss it? I can hear the kids crying. I really got to get out of here. Rambling, I don't see it. So just post it real quick while I do my outro. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you very much for hanging out and enjoying the stream. Hey, hit that subscribe button. I might have lost a few subscribers over the last few days. So if you've enjoyed this, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell, especially if you're still watching. Appreciate you all. Going to get back to regular content. If you want to become a member, you can hit that membership button. It is right down there. It says join Discord. Read it later. I will read it later. Rambling. Thank you for sending it in. I'm going to get out of here. There's the join button. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.